May 20th, 1999. On a quiet, ordinary day in Snowtown, South Australia, a discovery was made that would forever etch this peaceful farming community into Australian true crime history. Inside the vault of an old, disused bank, police officers pried open thick metal doors. Inside, they found not old bank ledgers or unused currency, but instead they found barrels, 6 of them filled with acid and human remains. 8 victims in total, dissolved and dismembered, stuffed into these innocuous barrels in this forgotten bank. The discovery shocked the nation and exposed a dark and insidious level of depravity hiding underneath society to many. From the seemingly tranquil streets of Adelaide's northern suburbs to the desolate, windswept fields surrounding Snowtown, a chilling set of discoveries would be made and a story of control, violence, and systematic murder would unfold. This is the story of the bodies in the barrels, the Snowtown Murders. And this is Red Thread. Welcome back to Red Thread, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us again this week. We've heard the pleas from the audience, the many people crying out, please, no more furries, no more wild internet stories. Let's get back to what Red Thread is all about, and that is the creepy stuff happening in real life outside of our computer screens. And that is why this week we're bringing a story that many people across the world probably don't know about. Many people in Australia have probably forgotten about this story as well, since it was quite a while ago, 20 years ago at the moment. And that is the Snowtown Murders. Kira, you didn't know much about this one, did you?
Not too much, no. I'd heard about it, but once I dived into it, I realized how little I actually knew.
Yeah, that's usually you just hear about bodies in the barrels or the Snowtown Murders as a title, and then you don't have a lot to really fill in the blanks there. I mean, already it paints a pretty grisly picture, but when you get down into the weeds and go through the court documents, the interviews, and the chronology of the events, it is honestly one of the most disturbing true crime stories I think I've ever, well, definitely over here in Australia anyway, definitely one of the more disturbing ones that have come from Australia, true crime history. Jordan, what about yourself?
I plead ignorant on Snowtown, but I plead delicious on Jackson and Kira's brand new soul syrup, which I am drinking right now.
Not the best time for an ad integration day, Jordan.
I think that it's very delicious, and I'm looking forward to the next few hours. Because
just
of
like
my
the delicious,
wonderful
soupy
privilege.
flavor from within those barrels, soul syrup is set to delight.
Oh my god!
Well, there goes our business, Kira. Thank you very much, Jordan.
I was really unsure where that was going.
I tried. Oh Lord, how I tried. And also, to everybody at home, yes, obviously I am doing a plug, but as every influencer ever says, I'm only doing it because I genuinely like the product. I really do.
No,
I really do, though. I really do.
I'm really
Look,
glad.
it was in the mail for about 2 weeks, and we didn't pick it up because it's in a PO box out in like like your version of Compton or something. It's genuinely scary going there. We got it. I finally did have some of it. I've got to say, it beats Lipton.
That
should be your slogan.
It beats Lipton. No, I'm glad you enjoy it. And for those of you out there, Soul Syrup, it's a tea company that Kira and I have created. I'll put some pictures up on the screen right now. But yeah, you can get delicious tea, our custom artisanal blends. We're big tea drinkers. We love tea. So I'm super glad that you like it, Jordan. Thank you very much.
You know what else I like about it as well?
I want to say to the audience real quick, I begged you not to do it, not to mention it, and yet you still came in swinging with it. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky that I genuinely forgot that you did. You've rejected my memory, and yes, I remember you saying that.
No, it's all good. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you.
Thank you.
No worries. Now, should we talk about the mass murders? Or?
Yeah. Let's get back to that now that selfishly plugging.
Now that the important business is out of the way.
Yeah, no. So back to Snowtown Murders. Jordan, what do you know about it?
I know that it's somewhere near Adelaide, and every time I ever go to Adelaide, this always happens. The audience is, for everybody who doesn't know, Adelaide is there's really no comparison to it in America. It is a city in the middle of a desert, so it's pretty much the Citadel in Mad Max, more or less. And it's there. It's kind of got some nice greenery around it, and then the rest of it's desert. It's Mad Max. It's Mad Max. Anyway, you go there, and they have the lowest self-esteem of anybody. And that's saying something for Australians. Australians are constantly shitting on themselves endlessly.
Yeah, we Australians have this reputation of being like badasses who nothing worries or bothers us, but we are probably like some of the most, self-conscious people around.
Well, yeah, or at the very least, comfortable with how shit we think we are. At the very least, you'll never hear us talk ourselves up, ever. But you go to Adelaide, and they have that complex times two. Every time you're ever on stage there, people will always lap up you paying out Adelaide and saying how bad it is. And they'll be like, yeah, we deserve that. That's fair. Nothing ever happens here. And then someone will always yell out after nothing ever happens here. Oh, no, Snowtown did. And that's it. That's their pride.
Yeah,
and it didn't even happen in Adelaide. It happened in Snowtown.
That's the misconception. It's called Snowtown because that's where the bodies were eventually discovered. But it did mostly happen in Adelaide, all the murders.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. So they were right.
Yeah, they were right. Adelaide.
Apart from all of that, they are quite an educated state. Yes.
Yeah, I've always heard Adelaide's like a fairly nice place. Never been there, but I've heard that it's like well organized and everything. Just it's so far out of where I would ever want to go anyway. So I've never been.
Well, I'll tell you this honestly, Jackson, you live in an infinitely better place, infinitely better. But I will say this about it: it's kind of like if Canberra and Melbourne had a child. That's Adelaide.
Yeah, but that doesn't sound good.
It's not. Yeah, but exactly. Okay, but it's not bad. Yeah. That's the thing. Adelaide is okay.
Okay, that's what put it on the billboard. Travel totally. Adelaide, or the tourist agency that lives there.
There's way worse places to whittle away your pointless life and die, which I imagine everybody who's ever been born in Adelaide completely superfluous.
Okay, so now that we've got your level of knowledge on Snowtown out of the way,
which is nothing,
which mostly revolves to Adelaide is involved.
Adelaide.
Yeah, we can move on. So let's get into the introduction. 144 kilometers north of Adelaide lies the town of Snowtown, self-described as peaceful and friendly. Or I guess they self-describe to Jordan slightly differently. But yeah, it's got this perception of being a peaceful and friendly place. It's one of the largest cities in Australia, which still isn't very large, given Australia has a very low population. It actually houses Australia's largest wind farm as of now. So props to them. Good on them. According to the 2021 census, 356 people call this small town home. This small town being Snowtown. But this small town has a dark past that lurks beneath its surface. On the 20th of May, 1999, police entered a red brick building on the main street that used to be a state bank of South Australia. Inside, they found these 6 barrels, or vats, that were left in the vault of the bank behind thick metal doors. And inside the barrels, police investigators discovered the toxic blend of acid and body parts mixed together. 8 victims had been in the barrels for at least 3 months. The stench that violated the police officers when they opened the vault would forever stay with them. They knew what they were going to discover before they had even opened the barrels. In fact, the smell was that bad upon entering the bank. Officer Ian Young commented, "As a police officer, I've smelt death before. You didn't have to get close to know what this was. Fuck my life if I ever come to know like innately what death smells like."
It's so Australian, isn't it, that cops are familiar with the smell of a mass murderer in the desert. If you have a job out in the outback as a cop, you are inevitably going to come across some deranged serial killer whose brain has been fried in the sun. And so that's just sort of like, I don't know, cops in the city knowing like the local gangs that are going to mug kids or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it weird that you just walk in and be like, "Oh yeah, I've smelt that before." Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Everyone, get your nose pegs out, and then in you go.
A sixth sense for like death, just innately knowing as soon as you enter a place, yes, someone died here at some point in time. I can smell it on the walls. Terrifying. I mean, what's that got to smell? It's just got to smell like shit, right?
I would imagine it would probably smell like that Norwegian tuna that they eat.
Oh,
It'd probably just be really rotting.
Stromsling or whatever the fuck it's called. Stromsgard.
I mean, that's pretty much what it is, right? They're just tuna cans, more or less.
Yeah, what the fuck is it called? Stroming fish. Yeah, stroming.
Stroming.
Yeah. That
right.
shit smells awful.
Jackson, one day, and I know this, again, has nothing to do with Snowtown or Adelaide for that matter. In fact, now we are going geographically further. Come along on Jackson and Jordan's random spin around the Atlas. We are landing right on Norway. Do you think it would be possible? We've got to do it. It's just a podcast classic. We should order some and eat it, hey?
What the fuck does that have to do with Red Thread? Just eating disgusting things for an episode.
Does it freak you out more when we're talking about serial killers? I'm going to guess yes, but we're never going to know unless we try.
All right, let us know below if you want us to eat surströmming on a future episode of Red Thread for some reason. Located 2 hours from Snowtown in South Australia, Adelaide has had the reputation of being Australia's so-called murder capital for a while now. I didn't actually know that. I didn't know it was known as Australia's murder capital. It's kind of cool. Good for them.
It is cool, yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's not a bad reputation, I guess. That's something. This is not statistically the case, though. We're going to actually all over this document right now. The highest per capita murder rate in Australia is actually in the Northern Territory. So you were right. It is the desert. Yeah. The desert does fry the brain.
And that's the other thing. You're going up, so the heat isn't dry, it's humid. So not only is it getting fried, it is getting stormströmed. Like, that's straight in a Norwegian sauna right there.
I mean, I definitely would have predicted Northern Territory as being the most with the highest, the place with the most, murders, the highest per capita rate.
Yeah.
In Australia, for sure.
I don't think anyone except unironic Crocodile Dundees live there. Yeah. That is the imagined idea of what you think Australia is the Northern Territory.
I actually think it's all just like a giant battle royale up there. Like, people just go up there to either kill or be killed. That's the only perception of the Northern Territory that I have.
It does feel like Twisted Metal when you go there. You're right.
I mean, even the name Northern Territory, it sounds like, a high level area
where
in
no
MMO
laws
or something.
apply.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you've ever played RuneScape before, but it kind of reminds you of like the wilderness where people would go to like kill each other. So it's got that reputation in my brain.
I didn't know that was part of the game, and that made RuneScape sound way less lamer in my head. I thought it was just
RuneScape
exchanging
sounds really lame.
RuneScape. Again, I assume the Norwegian interpretation of that. But
RuneScaping.
Well, that sounds really cool. Northern Territory sounds really cool. I will tell you. It is. It's filled with spies, Crocodile Dundees, murders, and nice national parks that are filled with radiation. It really is a terrifying place, isn't it? And crocodiles as well.
I mean, it's again, the name, the Northern Territory, it sounds like they just did not care about the place and decided to give it a name that would make it less interesting to people so that no one goes there. Northern Territory, it screams wilderness.
It's like they couldn't be bothered to think of a name.
Exactly. You got like Queensland, New South Wales, even South Australia. I mean, that's to the point. And it's still got Australia in the name.
Yeah.
And the Northern Territory is like, we want to ignore this place as much as possible.
Special access zone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is to say that most cases may not come from Adelaide and South Australia, but the state is home to some of the most disturbing and horrifying that Australia has ever seen. For example, we're just going to do a best of murder cases in South Australia, I guess. We've got the Truro murders that occurred in the 1970s, where the remains of 7 girls were uncovered in regional South Australia. The family murders, where 5 young men were tortured and killed in South Australia. There's also the disappearances of the Beaumont children, which is a massive case, still unsolved to this day. Very interesting, very sad and interesting true crime case is the Beaumont children.
Beaumont murders... Beaumont children, hang on, is that the movie about the schoolgirls that get abducted by aliens from the 70s?
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, Picnic at Hanging Rock? Is that place or no?
Say it again?
Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Oh, yeah, that sounds more right, yeah. Where they get abducted. Yeah. That's in Victoria as well, I think.
Ah, crap. Okay, sorry. Continue on. Sorry, I've interjected with nothing but incorrect geography. This whole what is this?
Where are we going to end up next? Oh, here's an
Where
interesting one.
in the world is Jordan San Diego incorrect?
This next one's interesting, though. I've never heard of this one. The 1985 massacre at Adelaide Zoo, where 64 animals were beaten and slaughtered. Whoa. What the fuck happened there? We'll have to dive into that one on a future episode.
Totally. Yes, we will.
And of course, the case that we're covering today. Suffice to say, Adelaide may not have the stats to back up its title as murder capital, but it has earned that title regardless. However, the story doesn't begin in Adelaide, it actually starts closer to home. And then we come to Chapter 1, Ringleader. So on the 9th of April, 1966, in Inala, which is a suburb of Brisbane, Queensland, which is close to both Kira and myself, John Justin Bunting was born to his parents Tom and Jan Bunting. John was actually born with a condition called congenital anosmia, meaning he doesn't have a sense of smell. An only child, John was known to torture ants with acid during his childhood, later moving on to killing cats and dogs. So, well, yeah, that's a pretty clear-cut sign that you're going to turn into a serial killer, right? Like, pretty standard stuff there.
I don't know. If I find my son doing that, I think I'm just going to have to off him for the greater good. You know, like, I'm going to have to do it. It's just like the movie The Omen.
There's clearly something wrong there.
What do you do at that point? Because they're obviously going to become a serial killer, yeah?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's pretty standard stuff in terms of who ends up murdering. Like, I never had the instinct growing up to kill cats and dogs or birds or anything like that for pleasure.
No. I mean, I used to put bugs in my pocket, but I wasn't trying to suffocate them. I was just like, they're going to be my friend. And yeah, I wasn't thinking of killing it.
Yeah, no. I remember when I was growing up, probably say 5 or 6 years old, I accidentally waterboarded some ants in my sink. Like I drowned them accidentally. I didn't realize they were in there, and I turned the taps on and they all went for a little swim down the drains. And in my 6-year-old brain, I couldn't deal with the guilt, so I held a little funeral outside by the drain to say sorry for all the ant crimes that I had committed.
That is... Holy... You are... the opposite of a serial killer.
Well, actually, I think it might circle around on itself, and that might be evidence that I am a serial killer as well, because I'm that mentally unstable that I held an ant funeral for dead ants. Maybe.
I mean, you're mentally unstable. There's no question about that, but it's like nice. I'm telling you, it's reverse serial killer. It's opposite land serial killer.
Uno
so
card.
Nice of you. Yeah.
So
You've got
nice.
The Uno card.
No, I felt really bad. I still carry that guilt to this day. Whenever there's nothing
really
worse
sad,
than accidentally killing an animal.
Yeah. Totally.
Like when you run over an animal or something like that accidentally, you know.
Oh, have you done that?
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. I still carry the guilt. His favorite hobbies and topics revolved around things like weaponry, photography, and anatomy. At the age of 8, he was beaten and sexually assaulted by a friend's older brother, the event lasting until the older brother's father came home. This undoubtedly, if true, left a lingering scar in his mind, and this event went unreported to both officials and his parents. It may have instilled in John Bunting a strong hatred of pedophiles and homosexuals. However, it's unclear whether or not Bunting's violent tendencies existed before or after this attack. Given his childhood was filled with events such as killing cats and dogs, it's definitely hard to tell. 7 years later, when he was 15, he had his first sexual experience with a woman, which resulted in a pregnancy. There was little information about this girlfriend and the child and whether or not it was brought into the world. He got his first job at the age of 20 in a crematorium. Jesus. That's good.
Yeah, and there you go. Straight to fire and death.
Yeah. Combining
what
dead...
a freak.
Yeah, there's a lot of signals here that are lighting up that don't paint a good picture. But he was fired not long after, not because of any inappropriate or bad behavior, but because they simply couldn't afford to keep paying him. I mean, he sounds like he would have done it for free, maybe.
No.
At age 22, he found employment at South Australian Meat Corporation, which has since closed down.
I was guessing that. I didn't even read it. There you go. I was thinking, what's the bit? He went straight to an abattoir.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's logical career progression, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm still proud of it though. It's pathetic. It's like obviously where he would have gone. It's like just being like, anyway, he got his teaching degree and he became a teacher. Yes, guessed it. It's like,
It's all right. I like that you're involved. It's good. Whatever makes you feel good.
Playing my own little game show. But yes, that is, you couldn't pick anything better, could you? He's ticked every single trope. He is a stereotype of a serial killer. He's giving serial killers a bad name.
To be fair, it was the 70s and it is Australia, and we do delay in a lot of fields, progression in fields like psychology, for example. So I don't know how much that would have been known in like the 60s and 70s, right? Like, yeah, it seems pretty intuitive that, killing cats and dogs is a pretty big sign that someone's fucked up. But then you put it in the context of they were raised in like probably rural, lower, economy kind of places, lower class places. Then maybe this stuff slipped under the radar.
I still think though, probably just by basic human interaction, there would have been you watch out for him. He's a weird one.
Yeah, but I don't think they would have been in the same context of you look out for that, or we need to report that guy. He's clearly a serial killer in the making. It would have just been like, don't be around that guy. He's a bit weird, Yeah, that's it.
He would have been a bit off in the context of a bunch of other abattoir workers.
Yeah. No shade to the abattoir workers out there. Someone needs to do it. Which, I mean, I guess it's a sad situation.
But I know a guy that ended up working in an abattoir, and I always thought the same thing. Every time I ever saw him, I thought, that guy, he could do it. He could do it. Anyway, he ended up leaving and he was freaked out by it. And I said, what was the entire staff of the abattoir? He said that it was nothing but Japanese people that obviously didn't understand the English well enough and thought like, because obviously your choices are to extend your visa, go to a mandarin farm or an abattoir.
Oh, that's sad.
Anyone that was British went to the mandarin farm.
No one that understood English went to the torture animal death camps.
Went to the animal death camps. And then that was them. And then they said that it was just them and then meth heads. And that was the entire... In fact, the first day that he was on there, he was just walked in. He was like, "G'day, mate. You need any meth?" And then he said, "No." He's like, "Going in raw. I'd admire that." Anyway,
anything to cope with it. God, that's so sad,
isn't it?
And that can't be like, you can't live in that. You can't work in that role for long before you have to numb yourself or you have to leave, because that's got to be so rough.
Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne.
Or you are a psychopath, or you are probably a psychopath that can just deal with that.
That likes it. Yeah.
Mm.
That's it. There's two options in an abattoir. Hey, you either like it or you hate it.
Yeah.
And if you like it, that's saying something.
You're going to thrive until you get done in for killing a lot of people. At the time, however, they would provide slaughtering services for livestock. We're still talking about the meat corporation here, which included animals such as cattle, sheep, pigs, and goats. John would brag about how he got to slaughter animals at work and how much he enjoyed it. Well, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the ones racked with guilt over working at this place.
Yeah. No meth required.
Yeah. It was at this time in 1988 that he shared a house with a man named Kevin Reed. That's not Kevin Rudd, Jordan. I know you're getting excited over there.
I did. I was like, yeah.
Kevin Rudd's involved in this story?
The plot thickens.
No, he was living with a man named Kevin Reed and Kevin's girlfriend in North Adelaide. Concerningly, Bunting had also killed Kevin's terrier bulldog that the couple had owned.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he hasn't even killed a person yet, and I want this guy dead.
At the abattoir. Far out, killing a pet. It's the next level thing, isn't it? As soon as you name something and you kill it.
He's got clear-cut escalation here, right?
Isn't it weird afterwards being like, "You kill my dog? Yeah. Well, keep paying rent." Just keep staying there, or?
You do the dishes for the next week, cunt. Like, what is this place? How do you keep living with someone who just killed your pet?
I don't know.
The 80s were a different... Man. Were the 80s a different time, or were these people just like absolute bottom of the barrel people?
No, it's definitely true. In the 80s and 70s, men were men. Now men are children. But back then...
What does that have to do with that? This statement.
I mean, look at us. We're technically men, and mostly what we talk about is dinosaurs and Lego.
Yeah, but I would care. I would care if someone killed my dog, and then I would probably
that's what I'm saying. It's because you're a child and you need to grow up, Jackson.
just let your pet die. I guess take it on the chin, live with the killer
like a man. But I just think that I know from talking to people from back in the 70s that the caliber of what was considered normal behavior was just so much tougher than it is now. I mean, you could not get to adulthood having avoided fights your entire life. Everyone would have gotten decked. If you were a science nerd or whatever, you would have gotten decked.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Like now you can kind of just hide in the corner and wait for high school to play itself out. But you couldn't do it back then.
But isn't this guy being a pussy by not fighting Bunting for killing his dog?
But that's what I'm saying. The detail is murky here, but I bet you came home and was like, you killed my dog, right? And they probably just punched each other, and then afterwards like, anyway, let's go to the pub. Probably, I reckon that's how it went down. I don't know.
Okay. I was going to assume that maybe Bunting made an excuse for it or something to like hide the fact that he had killed the dog, and then the couple just owned it, or like, believed that or whatever. But yeah, maybe your vision of a hyper-masculine Australia is true. I'm not sure. We'll let the comments decide on that one as well. So far, the comments have to do a lot of work right now. You got to tell us if
totally.
we're gonna, eat sunstroming or whatever the fuck it's called, and then you got to tell us about this as well.
Feeling the clues. Tell us about your day as well.
Yeah.
Don't be selfish.
Yeah, we want to hear from you too. We read every single comment.
Yep.
All right, and continuing. In 1989, at the age of 23, Bunting met a woman named Veronica Tripp, and by the following year, they were married, and she moved into the home John shared with his friends. Or friends, I don't think they were described as friends, just roommates, Kevin Reed and Kevin's girlfriend. I don't think they were friends after the dog died, perhaps. In 1991, age 25, Bunting and Veronica moved to 203 Waterloo Corner Road in Salisbury North, a suburb in Adelaide. While living at Waterloo Court, he befriended a man by the name of Robert Joe Wagner and another man by the name of Mark Ray Haydon, who were his neighbors. At 28 years of age, Bunting became involved with a woman named Elizabeth Harvey while still married to Veronica Tripp. So a bit of womanizing going on here. And he had a lot of different partners throughout the history of this case, right, Kira?
Yes. I think, is it just those two?
No, there was another one. I'm pretty sure I want to say Suzanne Allen, another one.
Oh, yes, Suzanne Allen. Yes.
What a player.
He was a player, definitely.
And looking at those deranged photos, I can see why.
Yeah.
In the first one, actually, he does kind of just look like a fat Heisenberg, doesn't he?
He just looks like a normal fat dude who I would see at a pub. So through this relationship with Veronica Tripp and eventual marriage with Elizabeth Harvey, he also became a stepfather to James Vlassakis and his half-brother Troy Youde, but more on that later. James Vlassakis, the stepson, would move in with Bunting and his mother in 1995. During this time, Bunting would kill cats and dogs and skin them, forcing James Vlassakis to watch.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking... It gets worse. We're going to start chapter 2 right now. It began with a missing person. So in Adelaide's northern suburbs on October 26, 1995, 20-year-old Clinton Douglas Trezise was reported missing. Police and detectives conducted national searches and investigated his disappearance, but were unable to solve the case. It remained a mystery for years, a case that investigators still looked into when they had time available to them, under the hope that they'd find something that could lead them to finding Clinton. After re-looking into the case several years later, around 1998, they realized that Clinton actually knew another missing person that they were, at the time, investigating as a new disappearance, a 42-year-old pedophile named Barry Lane. Well, that's a pretty fucking wild statement already. So Barry Lane was a confirmed pedophile, Kira?
In the documents that I was referring to and watching, they said he was a pedophile. I also saw in another document that said he was accused of being one. So,
okay, due to the we clearly don't know if he was or wasn't a pedophile. I'm going to say 42-year-old accused pedophile because I did see that other people had accused him of being a pedophile. So 42-year-old...
I think accused is worse.
Maybe. I don't know. No, I think being just a straight-up pedophile is worse.
Factually worse, but like, don't you think accused is just that? Like, it just has this suspicious
sting to it. Yeah,
kind of, yeah.
It's got that stank to it. A 42-year-old.
Rest in peace, you beautiful ped.
A 42-year-old accused pedophile named Barry Lane, with the two of them being regarded as close friends, and you do not want to be a close friend with an accused pedophile. That's for sure. Barry Lane's mother recounted Clinton, that's the initial missing person, describing them as really good friends as they would often go shopping together. She did comment that Clinton didn't appear to her as a homosexual as her son, Barry Lane, was. Lane would also often dress in feminine clothing, with some web pages like Wikipedia referring to Lane as Vanessa Lane. So transgender, Barry Lane was also transgender and under the identity of Vanessa Lane during some portion of the chronology of these events. This implied that she never thought the relationship between Clinton and Barry Lane was sexual. Lane had been reported missing 5 years after Clinton in October 1997, however, and so the connection was tenuous at best. But the police did notice something confusing, however, in this subsequent investigation. They noticed that Barry Lane, even after his disappearance, was still collecting his disability payments. The police immediately set up surveillance on the place where the payments were being withdrawn, and this resulted in the identification of a person named Robert Joe Wagner, who, as we know previously, was the neighbor and close friend of John Bunting. Robert knew Lane as the two were in an intimate relationship. This revelation of Wagner collecting Lane's disability pension opened up a new can of worms for the police department, who now focused on checking if various payments were still being collected from any of their other active missing person cases around the area, and sure enough, they discovered another one. Around 100 kilometers away, in Murray Bridge, a woman named Suzanne Allen had been missing since 1997, but all of her online accounts were still active. Through repeating their steps, setting up surveillance on where her money was being withdrawn, they now identified another man collecting the payments, and that is John Bunting. Everything was beginning to connect. Bunting was known to be connected to Wagner and Lane, and he had also previously been in a relationship with Suzanne Allen. And remember, at this time, Kira, no bodies had been found, right? No bodies connected to this case had been found. They were just operating under the investigation of missing person cases. No bodies had been found, but they had found evidence that Wagner and John Bunting were both collecting welfare checks who should have been going to the missing people, basically, connected to their identity. So yeah, no bodies had been found yet, and John Bunting and Wagner were already connected to the events. While piecing this puzzle together, the police got another call in November of 1998. Another woman had gone missing, and it was her brother, not her husband, who called and reported her missing, something the police thought was strange. Her name was Elizabeth Haydon, and she was just 37 years old. Her husband was Mark Haydon, and the police rather quickly brought him into question about Elizabeth's disappearance. Mark was cooperative, but this questioning didn't bring in any new information that could help to find Elizabeth. But this is when the police realized that Mark knew and was friends with both Wagner and Bunting. They also noted something else suspicious. Haydon's four-wheel drive had also disappeared recently. The connections between the disappearances and these individuals was becoming far too abundant for the police to pass them off as coincidental. Are you following, Jordan?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am.
Any questions?
Yes, I am. No, so far I'm just liking how, as always, I assumed that Kira did this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because unlike Jackson's ones, it's well put together. It is really, it's nice. Like you speaking of pieces of puzzles, you know?
Yeah, she's
a nice little background.
She's a good little jigsaw puzzle builder. I really like how she lays out her documents. You do a fantastic job, Kira. Round of applause for Kira.
Yeah, well done, Kira.
Kira, stand up and take a bow.
What? Yeah, do that.
Come on.
Stop.
Come on, over
No,
here.
do it now.
Yeah, get up. Bow.
Stand up and take a bow.
Bow. Salute.
I'm in my
For
pajamas.
writing an
she's in the
information
pajamas.
piece.
Never mind.
It's nighttime.
That was a pretty sad clap, 2 people, but It's really pathetic, frankly. It's quite insulting almost.
I appreciate it very much.
The feeling was there, Kira.
Kira, just before we go
love
on, we do, but also, Kira, do you do puzzles?
What?
What sort of puzzles?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out if this is purely metaphorical that we're speaking about her being a good puzzle piece.
No, it was metaphorical.
Together. It's entirely metaphorical.
She hates puzzles. Hates them with
I
a
love
passion.
Sudoku.
Yeah, she does love Sudoku.
Does that count as a puzzle?
Yeah, for sure. It does.
Yeah.
It's a logic puzzle.
Far out. It's a bit old hat, isn't it?
All right, well, don't you dare talk about my girlfriend like that. My fiance like that.
Jack, I did actually bond with your nan about loving Sudoku because she loves it too.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, I told you it's an old.
It is an old person thing.
Hang on, just 1 sec. My rabbit just came in. Oh, for God's sake! Damn it! It went out again.
What? What is happening?
It's just my bloody rabbit. I let them out to run around sometimes, and then I let it run out for it. It kind of just escaped the little obstacle course that I put up to make it not go into the right, and it just ran in, and then now it's just behind the couches and stuff, and then I just sit there doing that thing that you do with at school, you know, when someone's like hiding behind a desk and you're trying to run that way and they run the other way. That was like an hour of my life, and I just thought, well, you got to eat sometime. And then it just came in, and then I got excited, and then she just went, and then just ran
straight
onto the
back
couch
to the
again.
couch. Right.
Sorry.
You've got your own little puzzle there.
Yes, if I can catch Lulu, I'll show everyone Lulu on screen.
Oh,
But we'll see.
adorable. Yeah. Stick around to the end to see Lulu the rabbit, I guess. That'll be your reward for sticking through these horrific, murderous details. A rabbit. Actually, that is a pretty good cleansing reward after this.
It is nice.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And if not, I can show you my other tamed one, Mr. Wombles. So,
Wombles?
you know, there's a consolation prize there.
All right, so soon after, though, another missing person was connected to this ever-changing web. 26-year-old Ray Davies. Davies, who had an intellectual disability and had been missing since 1995, lived in Suzanne Allen's backyard and was also romantically linked with her. So again, these connections are increasing.
So what a scary web. Sorry. I don't know, just a mentally handicapped man basically living in the shed in the back, and then some goer just comes out and just like, hey, get yourself a hard douse. And okay. It's like, what is this world? It's scary. And also having weird incestuous relationships almost. Sorry, go on.
Now, you mean incestuous relationships in the context that all these people were kind of involved in one way or another?
Yeah.
Okay. So just to clarify, though, to the audience, there is no incest so far. I don't know why Jordan's bringing up incest to describe just people being linked together.
I always think that anytime I think that everybody, you know, those circle of friends where it's kind of just like, yeah, Mark, you used to date Mark, didn't you? Yeah, that's right. And everybody's just fucked each other. And it's kind of like that.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So you never had friends, huh?
No.
I wish someone would fuck my friends. This may be confusing, as there are a lot of names involved in this period of police investigation, but what's important to understand is that the 5 missing persons who had disappeared across several years in Adelaide, Clinton Trezise, Ray Allen, Peter Davies, Barry Lane, Suzanne Allen, and Elizabeth Haydon, were all involved with either one or another, or were either involved with Robert Joe Wagner or John Justin Bunting, who themselves were closely linked together as they were neighbors and close friends. With 5 missing persons connected, this was now declared a major criminal situation, meaning that the police could heighten their investigations and resources into Bunting and Wagner, including tapping their phones. This is the first time that Snowtown entered the case, as most of the missing individuals and ensuing investigations had centered around Adelaide itself. On a recorded call, Bunting and Wagner discussed their trip driving up to Snowtown recently. Police immediately began their investigations into the sleepy little town just 2 hours north of Adelaide. When the investigators arrived at Snowtown, they immediately found something that they had been looking all over Australia for: Mark Haydon's four-wheel drive. What am I saying? Four-wheel drive car. Is that? No, I said it right the first time, right? Four-wheel drive. That's how you say it. That's a car.
What are you talking about? Haven't you just said 4-wheel drive like 8 times?
Well, how many wheels is that?
You could just call it a 4-wheel drive. I don't know why I put car there.
Okay.
Just to emphasize, it's a car.
4-wheel drive car, not a scooter, a car. Detectives spoke with the locals who were around where the car was parked, and they were ultimately pointed in the direction of the town's unused State Bank of South Australia building, which was now actually being rented out by Bunting. On the 20th of May 1999, they made their way to the vault door and worked it open, which ultimately, as we know, blew the whole case open in a far more sinister way than even the investigators had suspected. What do you think is going to happen now, Jordan, huh?
Murders, people getting caught. Am I in the right ballpark?
Yeah, you see, he's good at predicting stuff, Kira.
Yeah.
Would it be really strange if the end of this was? And then he did get a job in teaching, actually, and had a pretty good life.
No murders were conducted.
This is why no murders were conducted. That was all fake.
Yeah.
That was just where he stored pig. As we all know, pig kind of smells like dead humans, so that was all just a trick. The cops planted that on him.
The bodies in the barrels were just teaching assistant kind of stuff, like the mannequins that they use in teaching classes.
Oh yes, of course, yes. No, that was what do they call it again? Like an autopsy or what do you do when you dissect a frog? Yeah, they were just dissecting pigs. That was all that, and they ended up having an open relationship with the handicapped man in the shed.
Yep, he's predicted it as per usual. Jordan's on the ball. Chapter 3, the bodies in the barrels. Boss, we've got bodies, was the first thing said by detectives on the scene to their chief superintendent. 6 barrels in total were discovered within the vault, containing the remains of 8 people in total. After later identifying the bodies, some of the people weren't even reported as missing persons. Inside the barrels contained the bodies of Barry Lane and Elizabeth Haydon, which is the wife of Mark Haydon, one of the people we were talking about previously, but also 6 other individuals that the police hadn't connected to the case, that being Michelle, formerly Michael Gardner, 19 years old, Gavin Porter, 29 years old, Troy Youde, 21 years old, Frederick Brooks, 18 years old, and Gary O'Dwyer, 29 years old, and David Johnson, 24 years old. Inside the bank, police also found clothes, knives, rope, tape, a handsaw, a barrel shotgun, handcuffs, plastic gloves, an electric shock device, and other everyday tools used to torture the victims like pincers, pliers, and clamps.
Not pincers.
No, you don't like pincers?
Do you like pincers?
I've never used them. If that's no, I don't know if I like them or not. I could. What do you use them for? Like twist your nipples? Like what are pincers used for?
I'm sure that's what you're using them for.
Okay, sweet. Maybe I like it. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure they have like actual probably other uses. It's the tool of a million uses.
But 99 uses
industrial grade
are related
nipple
to the
cripples.
nipples. Yeah.
Impromptu circumcisions.
Oh man.
Oh my god. I'm just looking at them again. Yeah, it is what I thought it is. It's just when a crab's pincer isn't enough.
Yep.
Ugh, out of steel. Sorry, continue on.
Cold hard steel.
Hard steel.
Police immediately arrested John Bunting, Mark Haydon, and Robert Wagner the following day on the 21st of May 1999, and now the media storm had also begun with the press conference after the discovery at Snowtown sending shockwaves throughout the country, which earned the case its name, the bodies in the barrels. However, the police knew that the case didn't end in the old bank. They hadn't yet found the bodies of Ray Davies, Suzanne Allen, or Clinton Trezise. A task force was formed dedicated to unraveling the enormous case that they knew that they had on their hands. It wasn't long before a tip-off from someone who had seen the coverage of the case on TV came through Crime Stoppers. A Crime Stopper still a thing?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm looking that up right now. I'm sorry to everybody watching.
Remember how big Crime Stoppers was while we were growing up? Like it was everywhere, across all the news.
Yeah, it's still a
Are
thing.
you two too young for Australia's Most Wanted?
No, I
No.
remember it, but I was definitely
remember
too
it.
young to fully comprehend it.
That's mostly where I remember Crime Stoppers from. Yep, Kira's right. It still exists.
But it doesn't have the same kind of reputation that it did when we were growing up. Like everyone knew Crime Stoppers back then.
Oh, Crime Stoppers was like calling NRMA or Pizza Hut.
Yeah. You used to do it just to talk to someone.
Yeah, honestly, That's a really sad thought, isn't it? Someone being really depressed just so that they can just be like, yeah, I'm robbing a car at the moment.
What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, doing your job. Yeah, you got to keep busy. That's nice, yeah.
No, so Crime Stoppers, for people that don't know, was an independent program that over here works with police directly, providing a safe and anonymous way for the public to report illegal activities and crimes. Basically, just like a tip line that got like national coverage, basically, and everyone knew what it was. So
totally.
It would be commonly used.
Mm.
They told police to go to Waterloo Corner Road and that they would find bodies there. On Waterloo Corner Road, set at an old property that Bunting used to reside in with Veronica Tripp, about 1 meter down in the dirt in the yard, more gruesome discoveries were made. Plastic bags filled with the remains of Suzanne Allen's had been buried. That wasn't all, and the police kept digging until they hit a filled-in underground bunker about 3 meters down. What do you think they're going to find in there? Aliens?
Oh, God, I hope so.
It's just
Not even because I just don't want to see
turn.
dead bodies. It's just, it'd be so much more interesting if it was dead alien bodies. Wouldn't it?
Yeah, something just completely...
And still fits in with the Crime Stopper tip-off. You will find bodies.
It's just alien bodies.
People claim they see it in the desert. Oh.
Just in some suburban home, basically, backyard. Just a working, functional UFO with dead alien bodies buried underneath it.
It really is fitting in with the whole 90s theme of all of this, isn't it? Crime Stoppers saying, Chad, we've got bodies. You walk in. There's that music going, and then it just shows a grave that's been chopped up in there. And then cue. I
like the logic here. This alien had to show up on Earth and immediately gets killed by these lunatics and dissected in their backyard. That poor alien. He never made it back to Zeta Prime 4.
Yeah, then after dissecting it, being like, well, he wasn't lying. He actually wasn't a human.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to kill a person tonight.
No, we were wrong. In the bunker, they found the remains of Ray Davies. By this point, police investigators had located the remains of every individual initially connected with the disappearances, with one exception: Clinton Trezise, the very person whose case had allowed police to start making connections in the first place. Someone then came out of the shadows and approached the police, a 19-year-old man named James Vlassakis, Bunting's stepson through Elizabeth Harvey. Possibly seeing what was unfolding and realizing that his name would come up next on the police's radar, he approached the police himself in hopes of striking a deal. It was James's statement that would fill in the blanks that investigators still had about the murders. James confessed to the dates and locations of the murders, saying that he was present for the last 5 murders, those of Troy Youde, Frederick Robert Brooks, Gary O'Dwyer, Elizabeth Haydon, and David Johnson.
My God, he's still doing the watch this, boy. Oh, sorry, go on.
The murders had taken place from August 1992 to May 1999, with the first victim being Clinton Trezise, who was beaten and murdered 3 years before actually being reported missing. What's the story there? How does someone get murdered 3 years before they're actually reported missing, Kira? Do we know? Do we know why there was such a delay in people reporting him being missing?
Just no friends, hey?
But still, someone had to eventually realize, oh yeah, where's Clinton? 3 years later.
So, I'm trying to read. I know that they targeted a lot of people who were more definitely
Transient
loners and transient, and also a little bit of spoilers for the later in the episode. They would make their victims say, like, call people or have recordings basically telling their family to leave them alone.
Right. So they kind of set up plausible deniability. Well, not plausible deniability, but like they set up the victims to leave messages behind, basically like convincing family members and such that they didn't want to be found. Basically, they were leaving town or whatever, going to start a new life, not to look for them, etc. That kind of stuff.
Yes, but it could have been with Clinton that he didn't have like close family or friends around.
Okay. God, that's sad.
That is really sad. I bet you there's a lot of that in rural Australia.
Just no one knows. Like no one even realizes that guy's now missing.
Yeah,
man,
for sure.
Yeah, that's sad. That makes me sad. So Trezise's body was technically not still missing, as it had actually already been discovered buried in a shallow grave in a small township called Lower Light, around an hour south of Snowtown on 16th of August 1994. It was only later during this investigation, several years later after the discoveries at Snowtown, that police compared previous x-rays of that were taken of Trezise while he was still alive and those of the remains discovered in 1994, that the police were able to link the remains to the disappearance and murder of Clinton Trezise. So they had actually found his body several years earlier. And even they didn't know that it was Clinton. Man, that couldn't happen in this day and age. Like,
no,
literally
it
could not. You would have video surveillance or some kind of, I was going to say like data chip implanted in you that tells you, like tells the investigators. I mean, we're not far away from it, honestly, but yeah, you could not disappear like that in the modern, era.
No, we're getting pretty close to Minority Report.
Yeah, we are.
As we've said before on this, I really do empathize with serial killers these days. It's a bloody tough job. They say a comedian is the toughest job in the world. It's definitely being a serial killer in the age of data retention. Really?
Well, I wonder if that's why they've gone into other career choices, like they start acting out in like school shootings or mass shootings or other like terrorist events, basically, because they know that they can't get away with it, so they may as well do it in a blaze of glory style thing. Maybe that's why there's a rise in those kind of, choices of acting out.
Mm.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's all that's left to you these days. That's the only way that you can.
Well, you're going to get caught
as a mass shooter. Yeah,
like the chances are definitely stacked against you.
Yeah. You don't have the opportunity to have your nice little sit down with Geraldo anymore, do you?
No. Not anymore. Thank God. I'm going to take the brave stance yet again on the red thread and say, hey, maybe it's a good thing serial killers are caught more easily these days.
Cuck.
Someone's going to say
confirmed soy.
Someone's going to say it.
Soy boy.
Back to Jordan's claim that Australia used to be masculine. Look at me being a little beta bitch.
The death of masculinity.
Yeah, back then we used to like serial killers. Nowadays we don't. No. Chapter 4, Wall of Spiders, which non-Australian listeners might be immediately terrified of thinking about Australia and Wall of Spiders in the same sentence.
Well, so am I.
Oh, come on, you pussy.
Aren't you?
No, spiders are fine. I'm so sick of this hate against spiders. It's so manufactured. You
don't think that they just look ugly?
No, I really think that this is pushed by those fucking aerosol spray companies that you spray to kill insects and stuff. They want us to move more spray units. They want to sell more so that they instill a hatred of spiders in us.
Jackson.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
No, spiders are great.
You're wrong.
They are so cute and they also love killing insects. They're a natural bug spray.
Okay, look, the insect killing thing and the natural bug spray thing, I will pay. But something with 8 eyes and fangs and hairy 8 legs that do this like little flitty thing. I still remember to this day, one of my earliest memories is waking up in Queensland of all places and there being a huntsman crawling across my face. I would have been like 5 or something like that.
Yeah, did it hurt you?
That was the most horrific. No. Okay, Jackson. Okay, you've proved it. You're the ultimate alpha. You can't. So what you would... If that happened to you, has that happened to you?
No, I've had a cockroach crawl over my face while I was asleep. I didn't like that.
You didn't like that?
No, I didn't like that.
Are you more scared by spiders or cockroaches?
I don't like cockroaches. I'd say that. I'm not scared of them, but I don't like them.
Yeah, me neither. Wow, we have so much in common.
The raw fear in your voice that you sound actually like scared.
I don't like them either. Kira, cockroaches or spiders, what would you rather have crawl over your face?
If it was between the two, I would have to say spider. I viscerally hate cockroaches.
Nah, it's my girl.
They're dirty, aren't they?
But
that's the one thing that you will give spiders. You really feel like they're quite hygienic creatures for some reason.
Don't they say cockroaches are extremely clean?
Do they?
Or am I wrong? Or maybe it's something else. I don't know. It's flies, isn't it? Because they're always cleaning themselves.
Well, they do look like very clean
Spiders creep
animals.
me out.
Huh? Spiders creep you out?
They just creep me out. Yeah, like Jordan was saying, the eyes, the legs, everything. Like, I respect that they kill insects. They can stay out of my vision, and that's fine.
All right, well, what about the fact that you say 8 legs are creepy? Octopi have 8 legs.
I don't
That's
like them
true.
either.
No one thinks they're creepy.
I don't like them either.
What, you don't like octopus? They're so cute.
Oh, not octopus. Sorry, I thought you were. I thought you were talking about something else.
Okay. What else has 8 legs?
I don't
Are you
know.
talking
for
about
some reason-
Octopussy?
Yeah, she
I
hated
thought you were
James
talking
Bond.
about caterpillars for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, caterpillars suck too. Honestly,
Yeah.
the scariest animal of all time, I think I already talked about this, but centipede has to be the scariest animal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
centipede
that's-
is the
yeah,
one I
that's
hate
what
the
I
most
like
as well. Yeah, for sure.
Giant
It's-
centipede. Fuck me.
There's a reason
Go on.
behind it, though. 1, too many legs, but also 2, they're actually like poisonous. They're actually, and they are like hyper aggressive compared to spiders. They will go after you if you disrupt them. Whereas spiders are usually, they get out of your way. Whereas centipedes will go out of their way to fuck you up. I mean, not fuck you. That's a different story entirely.
Yes, well, I'm glad that we got that out of the way because that's a really scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going into your ass. Oh, please. Not there. Anywhere but there.
Oh, no, that's too many legs. Too many legs to fit in there.
It is a dildo from hell, isn't it? A centipede.
No, I mean yes, but why would you say that? I don't want to think about that.
Kira, do you want to think about that? Or?
No.
She's
No,
already
all right. Well, there we
regretted coming
go.
on tonight.
Well, I just wanted to be known. I want to think about that.
This is who we've got doing our publicity for Soul Syrup, by the way. Guy who's thinking about centipede dildos, whatever that means. We are so fucked. We are so tanked.
Sorry, yeah, we're going on to Wall of Spiders. That was why we were talking about this.
The Supreme Court in Adelaide was infiltrated with journalists and the media when the trial of the Snowtown Murders started. John Bunting, Robert Wagner, and Mark Haydon were charged with 10 murders, while James Vlassakis was charged with 5 counts of murder. Throughout this trial, the truly horrific details and chronology of the murders by Bunting, Wagner, Haydon, and Vlassakis were unveiled. The prosecution detailed every murder, all the brutal details, so that the jury could fully scope how monstrous this event was. The victims weren't just murdered, they were tortured horrifically. The men would create recordings of the victims, forcing the victims to say things that they would then send to the families or put on their voicemail that would explain their
always.
disappearances, essentially telling everyone that they loved to fuck off.
I hate how they do that.
Why?
I don't know. It really freaks me out, the thought of getting tortured, knowing that you're going to die, and someone saying, say it or I'll twist your nipple again. No, they're already tender. And then having to write it.
Yeah. I mean, this is sad way of going, Jordan. Getting your nipples twisted while being forced to say something. This was a big reason why they were able to get away with crimes for as long as they did, as the disappearances weren't reported, as family members and friends believed that the victims had simply left Adelaide to start new lives. Police investigating the case have said that what the victims had to endure were unimaginable, with victim David Johnson's father stating outside the courthouse, quote, "It's been a horrible experience and the words and the things that were said in there were truly horrible." I assume he just kind of, the quote just kind of ends before that point actually. It says, quote, "It's been a horrible experience and the words and the things that were said in there." I guess the thing,
I couldn't do it.
You couldn't go into court and hear a loved one?
If a family member was tortured, I don't want to know how. I'm not doing that.
Really? But I mean, I know it's difficult, but I feel like you owe it to your friend in some way.
Why do you owe it to them?
Show up to support them, like to I don't know what the fuck is the like idea that I'm trying to come up with here. Like,
I suppose it is actually. Yeah, you're right. It is very fair weather friend. Literally a fair weather friend.
Yeah, you won't even
like,
show up for my.
Well, if your funeral's like nice, I'll come with some flowers.
Yeah, I feel like you need to show up to stand guard almost for your friend. At that point, I would want you to come to my court hearing
about how you were horribly tortured.
Yes, and I'd
thanks
want you
for
to
making
weep.
me carry that burden. Cheers,
I want you to weep. I want you to stand up and weep for me. Make sure.
Don't worry, I'd do that.
Thank you.
Don't you worry.
And I'd want you to hold up a can of soul syrup for me.
That's a really funny thing.
It's what he
I've
would
got
have
to
wanted.
say, very Logan Paul-esque, and I
Yeah.
approve.
This was his favorite flavor. No, I would want you. I would want people to come to my my court hearing. Put some pressure. Make the guy who killed me feel bad.
I don't think the Snowtown guy is going to feel bad.
Yeah, no, but still, I don't know. Bring a gun and shoot him. Take one for the team. I don't know. Do something.
I reckon I could do that.
We need to talk about the motivation behind the killings, more specifically Bunting's motivation himself, as he was more or less the group's ringleader. As Bunting grew up, he developed a strong hatred of pedophiles, and in his mind, he associated all homosexuals with pedophilia and wanted to, quote, cleanse society of such so-called undesirables, end quote. In the previously mentioned property on Waterloo Corner Road, Bunting created a chart in his bedroom that he called a rock spider wall. This chart held various pieces of paper with names of people he thought were dirty due to them either being homosexuals or alleged pedophiles. Some of the names were connected with wool, like a web. For example, Barry Lane's name was connected to Ray Allen, Peter Davies. These people who Bunting intensely hated were what he called rock spiders, which is Australian prison slang for child molesters.
Peter.
Didn't know that.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't know that rock spiders meant that. I assume because they hide under rocks.
There you go.
Rock.
And Jackson is on record saying that he likes spiders. They're
no.
far out. You are done. You
Well, wait, are those
done,
are rock
Jackson.
spiders an actual type of pedophile spider?
I guess in. Again, I don't know how metaphorical we're getting in this podcast, but yes, I suppose you are correct.
There's a spider out there that exclusively bangs younger spiders.
Are we? Is spider metaphorical or not? I can't tell.
What? I'm referring to an actual spider. Why are they called rock spiders? Like, what's the connotation?
I am imagining the reason that they're called rock spiders is because as soon as they're in prison, they hide in the cracks because they.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely
I think
right.
that's probably why.
Yeah, but that still means that there has to be a spider. Like, is there a spider? Is there a rock spider? Does that exist?
When I googled it, it just said that it was a term for a pedophile. So
Okay, so there's no actual rock spiders.
doesn't look like it. No.
Okay, well there we go. So it's just a metaphor. It's just a term. It's just. But then what the fuck is the spider part of a pedophile?
I'm telling you, it's because they hide. No, maybe, but I think it's that could also be part of it. But I'm going to say that it's because they hide in the cracks. Hang on, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT. Slang for pedophile. I already knew that.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up.
It's a deeply derogatory term, so everybody know that. Okay, pedophiles resent that. That is their word. Don't use that.
Yeah, you better feel bad for calling a pedophile a rock spider.
It reflects the extreme contempt of prisoners for their children. Hiding in spiders like rocks. Yeah, that's it. Prison hierarchies. In Australian prisons, pedophiles are at the absolute bottom of the inmate hierarchy. The term rock spider is part of the prison vernacular.
Yes, but I know. You're just saying that they use it. I know that. I want to know why it became rock spider, why they chose that as the word or the term. Like, why?
I'm telling you, because they're perceived to be
Yeah.
sneaky.
Is it
and they're
gross,
hiding in little cracks.
Yeah, look in Discord.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it says to expand, we call them rock spiders because they like being in little cracks. Okay, that's gross.
Oh, really?
That's so gross. I feel like anyone making that term up is a pedophile. Like, that's so gross to say the term little cracks. Anyway.
I'm impressed by the level of street rap slang that it got to that level. And I will say this as well. I think it's also exactly what you were saying, Jackson. There's also a bit of that. Man, I'm telling you, it's a rap term. It's a really clever rap term. They're also saying that it is because they like to creep up and quietly stalk their prey. So it's exactly what you were saying.
They're predators, like spiders. Everyone was right. No matter what opinion you had about rock spiders, you were right. Now we've gone to the bottom of the etymology of the term rock spiders, which I had never heard that term before. You guys had?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I hadn't.
No.
Jordan hangs out with interesting people, it sounds like. Bunting's
Oh, yeah.
former neighbor, Robert Skews, speaking of John, said, quote, he always had a mean streak under his placid persona. He said, I want to go out and kill all the pedophiles and homosexuals, end quote. Yeah, I mean, it's well, you often hear about people that want to kill all pedophiles. That's not an abnormal kind of belief to actually go out and do it, and also to tie homosexuals into that kind of, into that category. Clearly unhinged, clearly a very, very unhinged kind of belief system. In the end, a majority of those killed at the hands of Bunting and his group were targeted because of their sexuality or simply because they didn't like them or that they had become liabilities to the group. The motivation pushed beyond just a simple dislike, though, with the hours upon hours of torture that they inflicted on their victims indicating something more. Wayne Frederick, the associate professor of criminology at Bond University, says that the main motivation was clearly enjoyment. The police believe that these murders for Bunting were fun. He enjoyed it, which is also evident in the way the torture escalated over time. Bunting, like a cult leader, had brought in his recruits, those being Wagner, Haydon, and Vlassakis, to a secret insider circle and sold them on his hatred for who he deemed dirty. It was very much us versus them mentality that he instilled in the others, and the motivations for the motivations for why he would target certain individuals was secondary and just clever packaging to make it more digestible for his co-conspirators to get on board. And really, from what I remember, they really did not need much convincing. He could literally just say, yeah, that guy's a homosexual. And then they'd be like, that's good enough for me. Let's go kill him, basically.
Right. Yeah, well, they don't seem like the sharpest tools in the shed.
No.
They seem to use very sharp tools in the shed, though. But that is... It's always the case with this. Don't you reckon that's a classic thing that every time they caught, or never did it to no one that didn't deserve it?
Yeah.
Always their argument.
And then it's some perceived made up shit.
Yeah, don't you think? It's like, what was your method then? He looked at me cock-eyed once, you know?
Yeah.
I guess so. I guess that warrants death.
It's like, yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, insane people can concoct any kind of delusional memory in their brain, really. Or,
yes,
if someone wants to kill someone, they're gonna like, what's the word I'm looking for? They're gonna package it up. Yeah, they'll package it up however they want to convince themselves to do it in their brain. Like they can make sense of it. If you're insane enough to want to kill someone, basically, like you need very little motivation, I'm sure. You don't have the same sensibilities. The jury was told of how it began in 1992 with Clinton Trezise. Trezise was invited into Bunting's home in Salisbury in northern Adelaide for a social hangout as he knew John Bunting and Robert Wagner. So this is the very first victim, Clinton Trezise. Once he was inside, however, he was beaten to death with a shovel as Bunting accused him of being a pedophile. According to multiple sources, it seems like Robert Wagner and Barry Lane, a future victim, assisted in disposing of the body. Robert Wagner and Barry Lane were in a relationship at the time, and though it contradicted Bunting's beliefs about homosexuals, it did not stop their friendship and partnership. Bunting would often refer back to this murder, calling Trezise happy pants. That's the quote, happy pants. And in a later statement given by a woman who knew them at the time, Raylene Brown, she told the police in December 2000 that Trezise constantly came up in conversation with John Bunting and Mark Haydon. She recalled that they said that Trezise was gay, but they were not sure whether he was into the kids as well, end quote. Bunting had said that Trezise, quote, didn't deserve to live, end quote. So, like, they didn't even, there was no basis from what I read that, Clinton was anything more than just gay. But that was enough for, again, John Bunting and Robert Wagner to feel like he didn't deserve to live. So, massive homophobia. And also just a belief that all homosexuals were also child predators.
Rock spiders.
Which is interesting considering, again, from that paragraph, Robert Wagner and Barry Lane, two men, and Robert Wagner is one of the killers, were in a relationship at the time. So they were homosexuals. Two of the people that were involved in this murder were homosexuals.
It's always the case, hey?
Yeah, massive, weird projection, but also they were open with Bunting. I'm really not sure where the line is here. And again,
what's going on?
The line doesn't matter. Again, the victims being gay or pedophiles is totally ancillary to Bunting's just wanting to kill people, basically. And he had prepackaged this idea that these people were deserving to die because of X reason, but X reason really didn't matter ultimately. He just wanted to
It really
kill.
didn't matter ultimately. I'd still very much... Does this exist? Do interviews of these guys exist? I would very much like them to explain...
Not really, no.
Hold them to power.
What's going on there? Not even holding them to account thing. Just how does that...
How do you
head?
pass
I just want to know.
that?
Yeah, how do you pass that?
And especially from the perspective of Robert Wagner and Barry Lane, who again were involved in this murder. And the reason that John Bunting gave for, getting everyone together to kill this person was because the guy was a homosexual. And meanwhile, he's recruiting 2 homosexuals to take part in that. Like, what's the perspective from those 2 people who are being told, yeah, we need to kill this guy because he's a homosexual? Are they like, but we're homosexuals? It doesn't seem to matter to them either.
I don't know from their perspective, but it seems like John Bunting could look past it because they were useful to him in his prerogative and what he wanted. They were on board with murdering.
So they were useful tools.
They were, and they went along with his ideas and his actions and things like that. So I'm guessing there was this understanding where he was like, okay, well, maybe he didn't like that they were gay, but they were useful to him.
Yeah, right.
Accepted it. I don't know. That's obviously just thinking.
So he's probably still disgusted by them in his own way, but he found their loyalty and such more useful to him.
Yes, I think it was big on the loyalty because Wagner was very loyal to Bunting.
Yeah, I mean he's second in charge basically, and one of the main instigators really. Yeah, but again, Kira, what about it from their perspective? Do you have any kind of input there?
We don't really know from their perspective. I think, though, that even though a lot of the victims were gay and Bunting didn't like homosexual, he was able to spin it in a way that Wagner was still disgusted with the people that they intended to murder.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, I guess Bunting would have referred to them as kind of like the good homosexuals, and we're taking out the bad ones, basically.
Maybe.
That's how he would package it to them. Maybe something like that.
Possibly. But also they were saying they were targeting pedophiles and stuff as well. I think it was just really spoken and packaged in a way by Bunting that got Wagner on board.
Right.
So he still disliked the people that they were planning to kill.
Yeah, but man, if putting myself in, like, let's say, well, this is relevant, but putting myself in Barry Lane's shoes, for example, who was involved in this murder, and I'm murdering someone, and the person who's instigating the murder is telling me, we got to do this because he's gay. I'm also gay. Am I not at least like pretty concerned that I might be next? Like, if the reason that this person is getting killed is because they're gay and I'm also gay, surely I'm like, well, this guy clearly would kill me if given the chance. You know what I mean?
Maybe he doesn't think that he's gay.
No,
That's a classic thing. Just to like, I'm not gay. I just fuck men from time to time. That's a classic.
I think they were openly gay and living together. So I don't know how you would spin that.
I don't know, but that happens. I swear it happens.
Like, you reckon they were just completely in denial about their own homosexuality?
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think Barry Lane was in denial. Don't know about Wagner, but Barry Lane was quite open, and obviously he would use sometimes the term Vanessa and was it Vanessa?
Yeah, it was Vanessa.
Yeah. And dress in feminine clothing. He was quite out as being the person that he wanted to be. So, and I don't know if Wagner was not, I don't know if that would work together.
Well,
in a relationship.
I mean, Bunting definitely knew that Barry Lane was gay, as we'll come to find. So if he knew that Barry Lane was gay, he has to have known Robert Wagner was gay. And if Bunting knows that they're both gay, then they obviously have to know that they themselves are gay, surely. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a very, very weird kind of dynamic here. You're right, Jordan. I would like to hear the justification about this from them themselves. Not that they would, offer any rational justification, likely, but it would still be Yeah, I would definitely want to know how they passed that.
Look, I'm gonna have to look this up in my own time.
I don't think there's any information about it.
I can't believe that no one's done the, 60 minutes this week inside the mind of a murderer. How's that not happened yet? That'd be ratings gold.
Well, they have to consent to giving the interviews, and they're in prison.
Yeah, but whatever. Just do it.
Compelling point, yeah. All right. So, on the 5th of December 1995, Bunting and Wagner killed Ray Davies, an intellectually disabled man. Davies was living in the backyard of Suzanne Allen, another future victim, and also had a previous sexual relationship with her. The relationship came to an end when her grandsons accused him of making sexual advances towards them, but Suzanne and Ray had remained civil afterwards, with Davies still living on the property in his caravan. Davies apparently again made advances to Allen's grandchildren on Christmas 1995, leading her to report him to the police. However, by the time she left to do so, he had disappeared, while his caravan and belongings were still located on her property. Bunting and Wagner were later seen cleaning out Davies' left-behind caravan, moving it, painting it, and then reselling it 2 months after the murder. Bunting had confessed this murder to James Vlassakis later on, recounting that they tortured Ray Davies and Wagner had strangled him using jumper leads. At this point, they had brought Davies to Bunting's house on Waterloo Road, and while he was strangled, Bunting's wife, Elizabeth Harvey, was in the kitchen. Vlassakis was also told that his mother, Elizabeth Harvey, was involved in the killings, after she also stabbed Davies in the leg with a ceramic tool. James Vlassakis didn't tell this to police initially in his confessions in an attempt to protect her, but Elizabeth Harvey had passed away from cancer before his second statements and interviews with the police, which is when he then divulged that information. When Ray Davies was unconscious, they took him to another town, Bakara, where they then abused him some more, focusing on the genital region by bashing him with the end of a pole, which resulted in his death. So they just wailed into his penis and genital region with his pole. Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know.
That weird, again, this Hills Have Eyes family where you take him there for a bit, get him more.
You're gonna see this a lot coming up, but I mean, immediate projection, right? Like they focus on this dude's genitals, who they're killing because they believe is a homosexual. But it's always the case, right? They always get really gay with it.
Yes, they do.
Focusing on the genitals and stuff. Like seems like projection to me. And honestly, nothing would, it feels like a pretty apt label.
Isn't it weird that with serial killing, there's always an art to it?
What do you mean?
Well, it's never get in, get out, efficient, do this, do that. It's always some kind of message behind the violence. It's like they're indie directors of horror.
Well, it's like they really enjoy what they're doing, and it's like premeditated, and also like there's a severe level of comfort with what they're doing to the point where they feel like they can take their time and, I guess, to borrow your term, get artistic with it. Like,
get artistic.
Yeah, like it's clearly to a level where they're so comfortable with it. And that's where you see like the escalations. You're going to see it getting worse and worse because the previous murder wasn't enough for them. It wasn't good enough. It didn't quench their thirst enough, so that they have to up the stakes.
Get more creative with it. Right, okay.
Afterwards, the pair took him to Bunting's previous home in Salisbury, where they then buried him in the yard. Suzanne Allen, the next victim, was last seen alive in November 1996. A post-mortem examination was unable to determine the cause of her death, as she had no fractures, but she had been dismembered, with parts of her body being placed into 11 separate plastic bags, along with remnants of rope. Police investigation gathered that it was John Bunting who had ended their relationship after he grew tired of Allen's unwillingness to accept that their relationship was over. She would apparently write him notes and drive past his house often. There were conflicting statements on Allen's death, with James Vlassakis claiming that Bunting told him that she had died of natural causes, but it's generally believed it was a targeted murder prompted by Allen and Bunting's deteriorating relationship. After her death, Bunting began to collect her pension checks, and then he took her Nissan Pulsar and also began removing items from Allen's home to resell. In 1998, another woman named Youde Elliott became involved in this welfare scheme as she lived with Mark and Elizabeth Haydon and grew close and became infatuated with Bunting herself. See, again, that's another woman then. So there's like 5 people involved with Bunting at this point. 5 women. She, as well as Elizabeth Harvey, began to impersonate Suzanne Allen in an effort to collect the welfare. In total, they claimed about $17,000 through welfare fraud throughout the 4 years. They would relay false stories to the friends of Suzanne Allen, particularly about Allen's whereabouts. And after her missing person report was filed and police interviewed Bunting, he told them that he believed that she had moved to Tasmania. In truth, she was taken to the same place where Davies' remains laid in Salisbury. Unfortunately, due to the lack of forensic evidence, the group were eventually found not guilty of this murder due to a hung jury, and her case was never retried by the prosecution. The next victim, however, Michael Gardner, also known as Michelle Gardner, aged 19, lived with Nicole Zaretta, a cousin of Wagner's wife. Gardner was openly homosexual and presented as female, which led to Bunting referring to Gardner as, quote, the biggest homo, end quote. So, I mean, straight to the point,
biggest.
Right? Yeah. I mean, he said this about every single person, regardless.
Oh, biggest shame I've ever met in my life.
It's such, yeah, I mean,
I suppose it's their version of fishing. Everything's always just like, it was this big, you know?
Yeah. Like,
so it's, we still don't know. I'm still a bit confused about why they killed a woman.
To go back to the woman, you want to go back to the woman?
Just for a second.
Yep.
It was because she refused to admit or refused to accept that they were in a homosexual relationship. Was that the deal? And they were just like, get off me, stop nagging me.
No. She was involved romantically with John Bunting, who wasn't a homosexual. He was the ringleader.
Yeah.
So she was involved with him, but then they broke up. The relationship crumbled, and he basically just got sick and tired of her. So by this point, again, like this is like shows that the homosexual stuff.
There's no code to it.
Yeah, the pedophile stuff really just packaging. It didn't. That wasn't the motivation for John Bunting or anyone. He just wanted to kill people.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just killed her basically with the group. And then they started claiming her welfare checks.
Yeah, there was also the financial
aspect of it, of course. So to go back to Michael Gardner or Michelle Gardner, Gardner was planning to move in with a friend, Katerina Van Gelder, but before Gardner was able to complete the move, she disappeared. Before the disappearance, Gardner had told Katerina that she still planned to move in with her, but she had to take care of a few things and wouldn't be long. People who Gardner knew also began to receive strange calls from Gardner or someone pretending to be Gardner, which claimed that she had left to receive a sex change. Wagner and Bunting staged a robbery at Gardner's home, taking some of Zaretta's belongings. They then convinced Zaretta that Gardner had stolen the items and fled to pay for a sex change operation. Bunting was not a fan of Gardner, if you recall his quote of the biggest homo, clearly not a fan of Gardner, mainly due to her sexuality. The instigating moment was when Wagner had seen Gardner playing with his children in her front yard, and Gardner had placed her hand over the child's mouth. Wagner told Bunting about this, and they both became infuriated. Gardner was then taken to Murray Bridge by Bunting and Wagner, where she was then strangled. Her body was put in a barrel and kept in the shed she was killed in until they moved her to the Snowtown bank. Her left foot had been cut off to fit in the barrel, and the rope was still hung around her neck. So it's very strange that they seem like their entire circle, for people that, again, hate homosexuals, they know a lot of homosexuals, they're closely involved with a lot of homosexuals for some reason.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well. And it's such a small place, too.
Yeah, I don't understand how they were so closely involved with so many if they hated them so much. Regardless.
Actually, that's probably why he was friends with the 2 homosexuals.
Oh, to find more victims.
Just
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's a pretty compelling point. Given there's something we'll learn later on in this script. Keep that in mind. According to police investigations, Barry Lane, age 42, this is the next victim, Barry Lane, who again was also involved in the murders up until this point. Barry Lane had been in a relationship with Robert Wagner from around 1985 through to 1996. Originally, Lane was the dominant one in the relationship, but that dynamic changed over time. They met Bunting when he moved into a property nearby, and Bunting came to constantly refer to Lane as dirty to his stepson, James Vlassakis. Bunting hated Lane, but it seems that he kept a relationship with him in order to try to receive information on pedophiles around the area. So that kind of goes to what you were just talking about, right?
There you go.
In his wall of spiders, Lane was written in the center, with linking names branching out, insinuating that Lane was the source of the information for John Bunting. Lane had previously been accused of molesting a young boy. So, again, that's pretty fucking wild in of itself. These people who hate pedophiles are themselves, at least one of them is a pedophile. In the fallout that this event created, which included Lane and Wagner's home being firebombed, bring up any memories triggered.
Owned with fire and Molotovs.
For anyone out there who is not in the know, look up Friendly Geordie's firebombing.
And then you can laugh along at home.
Who knew there'd be a loose connection to Jordan in this episode? So yeah, their home was firebombed with Wagner, and then Wagner split from Lane, and Lane entered into a relationship with a man named Thomas Trevelyan, aged 18. So again, Barry Lane was a 42-year-old now in a relationship with an 18-year-old, which I guess isn't pedophilia, but it's certainly getting close.
You're treading the line.
And we don't know if there was something.
He treats it well.
If he was, and we don't know if he knew Thomas before that age as well. By the way, Lane, now transitioning into Vanessa Lane, had previously helped cover the murder of Trezise. She confided in her mother and Bunting's ex-girlfriend Caroline Tripp about the killing, which Bunting would later admonish, calling Lane quote a big mouth end quote. Bunting's
what an insult.
Everyone knew about these murders apparently in their entire circle, and they still managed to just fly under the radar. Bunting's hatred was growing, and he was also told by Trevelyan. Jesus fucking Christ! Bunting's hatred was growing, and he was also told by Trevelyan, Lane's new partner, that Lane was sexually abusing him. Lane had apparently called a friend on the night of October 12th. She was distressed and frightened, later telling the friend that she feared for her life. 5 days later, Lane was picked up by Wagner, Bunting, and Trevelyan. So again, picked up by her boyfriend. She was then forced to call her mother, abuse her on the phone. She could hear other people prompting her on what to say in the background. Her mother could hear that. And she concluded by telling her mother that she was moving to Queensland. Lane was then tortured, her toes crushed with pliers for information on her bank accounts, and then strangled to death. She was put in the same barrel as Gardner. Bunting, Wagner, and Trevelyan were all involved in her murder. Bunting then assumed complete control of Lane's vehicle and also claimed her welfare payments from that point on. So again, another murder. And again, Barry Lane or Vanessa Lane, she was a co-conspirator of the earlier murderers. And now they had instead recruited her boyfriend into becoming a murderer of her murder, basically. Like he was involved in her murder.
How are they finding all the murderers? That's the other one. Look, I am less surprised by the gays and pedophiles. I'm really weirded out by just like, hey, you've got good murdering skills. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, it's
that's
like the
weird.
Avengers of murdering. Weird.
Yeah.
It's weird how they're able to, and probably shows how charismatic John Bunting may have been. Like he was able to convince these people, or maybe not charismatic. Maybe that's not the right word, because when I think of charismatic, I think of cult leaders, and this definitely seems like a cult vibe to me, but probably based less on just raw charisma and more on intimidation, I would assume, right?
I don't know. I would really like to know how this circle operated. What were their thoughts? What was going on?
I think it was intimidation.
It's just, you reckon it's all intimidation?
I think for the broader picture, for people like Trevelyan and, well, maybe not Trevelyan. Trevelyan may have just also been insane. But in the part of like Barry Lane being involved previously, as well as like the wife of Bunting and things like that. Yeah, I think intimidation probably played a bigger part in it than just them being, murderous individuals initially.
Mm.
Like I think I think John Bunting was probably a very scary person to be around. Like you think of these very insane people who constantly espouse how they want to kill people, murder people. If you're around that constantly, you're going to be terrified of that person, right?
I suppose actually, yeah, no, that does make sense.
But there are certain people in this story, like what's the main co-conspirator's name, Kira?
Wagner?
Yeah, Wagner. Like Wagner, who I think are just another Bunting, basically. Like he clearly had murderous intent from the very beginning. Shows very little remorse, very little understanding of what he did was wrong. So they were definitely. It's very surprising that Bunting was able to find very like-minded people in that of Wagner and some other individuals. It is surprising though, isn't it? Just how this kind of situation grew on itself and how he was able to find people who were like-minded in that way.
I suppose like attracts like. That's also another thing. There's something that just happens when you meet other human beings and they sort of slot into your worldview, don't you think? That you kind of meet someone and almost non-verbally you can tell this person's of my tribe. So that probably happens to murderers as well.
Yeah, but the thing, it's not like they went to serial killers, like a serial killers club or anything, and then linked up together, or a serial killers subreddit or something. Like the universal dice roll of luck basically just made them neighbors, and that's how they bonded and found each other. Like the universe literally just put two serial killer like-minded individuals next door to each other, and that's how they met. Isn't that surprising to you?
It's very, very strange.
So how many people are capable of becoming serial killers if they're just pushed in the right direction like this?
Well, this is what's scaring me, because it does seem like, you wind up in a bad crowd. I'm telling you, those little principal talks, we never paid attention to them, mostly because there was sporadic and quite spastic outbursts of the phrase over and over again, no hat, no play. But I think that
that's more important.
It is more important. But, well, you can laugh, Jackson, but sun cancer probably kills more people than these Snowtown gentlemen did.
I 100%. Hey, I'm a big component. I'm wearing a hat right now and I'm indoors. I'm all for it. More hats.
I don't know why you're doing that.
Yeah, it's just part of my, one, receding
just
hairline.
part of your aesthetic.
Yeah,
okay.
Part of the uniform.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought that you were doing it or something because you were going to go play poker afterwards.
Yeah, no. It's just, it's 9 p.m. and the sun's really bright outdoors. Yeah.
What a pale man.
It's
getting sunburnt indoors.
The hat's on backwards, so it's not any use in that situation.
No. Yeah, it is. Guys, please, before you die, write an autobiography. I really want to know things from their perspective. I just want to know how you guys hung out, what you talked about, other than murders, because we know the murder part, but what else did you do?
No, we know what they all like related on, and again, it was their hatred of pedophiles and homosexuals. But again, like that's very clearly just a false veneer for what they actually wanted to do, which was murder people.
I know, but what I think would be the pieces of the puzzle that are missing from this would be if you knew anything about them other than their murders. I would very much like to just hear any non-murder related stories between these people.
Just what they were like outside of their chosen careers.
The man behind the murderer, if you will. Yeah.
Well,
anyway, I'm just intrigued by that personally because this is bizarre, like this weird social circle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued by its like the psychological aspect of how these people interacted with each other.
Yeah,
and how they kind of reinforced each other to get to this point. Because it's not like Robert Wagner and John Bunting moved in to next door to each other in a neighborhood, and they're just like their first meeting. Bunting peeks over the fence and he's like, Hey, Rob, my name's John, just moved in. So you like murdering? Like that didn't happen. It had to have evolved over time over
Exactly.
over
And how
years.
yes.
So I'm very curious how that played out. So yeah, don't know. Thomas Trevelyan. So again, that is Barry Lane's or Vanessa Lane's 18-year-old boyfriend who was involved in her murder. Just this last paragraph would be the next victim. So funny how that works. It seems like there's a recruitment issue here. Everyone they keep recruiting ends up a future victim. At 18, he was a paranoid schizophrenic, often suffering from hallucinations where he would believe that he was an army soldier, which is why he would often be seen wearing military fatigues. On the 4th of November in 1997, Trevelyan began to chase a dog that belonged to Veronica Mills, who lived with Wagner, in an attempt to kill it with a knife. Mills' child was around and she began to scream at him to stop, and Trevelyan ended up leaving the house. Mills told Bunting and Wagner about what happened, and they told her that they would go take him for a drive, but she never saw him again. Trevelyan was then found on the 5th of November the following day, hanging from a tree in a remote locality in the Kersbrook area. He was initially treated as a suicide, as Trevelyan had a history of prior attempts. Bunting, though, had told others in the circle that Trevelyan had started to, quote, go mental, end quote, and that he needed to be dealt with as he was a liability. So that one was clearly just a case of he knows too much. I think.
I think so too. And he did know too much.
Well, yeah.
Little squealer.
Gavin Porter, 29 years old, was a diagnosed schizophrenic who moved to Adelaide after his mother passed away. He met and befriended James Vlassakis, moving in with the family. They bonded.
All these schizos too. What? Anyway, sorry, go on. But how are they finding them all? Schizophrenic, murderous pedos. So many of them.
Gavin Porter is exclusively a victim here. He never killed anyone. Just to put that out there, this guy's a victim.
That we know of.
Yes.
I remain suspicious.
He met and befriended James Vlassakis, moving in with the family. They bonded over heroin abuse. When the family moved, Porter also came along, which seemed to irritate Bunting, who often called him a waste, end quote. Bunting knew that Porter had no relatives that checked in on him, and Gavin was an opportunity that Bunting couldn't pass up on. So again, there's no motivation for any of these killings at this point beyond, like, it started loosely as like, I hate pedophiles, I hate homosexuals. Now he's just killing anyone who he can, really.
Mm.
James Vlassakis, like this Gavin Porter is a friend of James Vlassakis, who is Bunting's stepson. And Gavin Porter was living with them.
Yes.
James Vlassakis knew that Bunting was annoyed at Porter, but Vlassakis never thought that he would murder him. Apparently, however, Bunting was pricked by a needle that Porter had left on the couch, and that was the tipping point. I mean, I probably wouldn't kill someone, but if I got pricked by a needle that they left around that they had been using for heroin abuse, I would be mildly perturbed at that as well, for sure. I don't think I would be very happy about that. I don't know how you would feel, if that's a normal reaction, but yes, I would. That's a dick move, to say the least, I think. Man.
That is look, I would like to hear the story behind that as well. I'm sure there are some comical elements of it. It's just like, me bam, that's it, I'm killing you.
But yeah. Still probably not, not, this entire situation is fucked from top to bottom. But
it's honestly like, it's too, don't you, guys, this is up there with being tortured to death by serial killers as a fear of mine. Getting pricked by a random needle.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's really close, hey? Yeah.
It's horrible.
So terrifying.
Yeah, it's hard to, if you leave a needle around in a place where it's going to be accidentally sat on by someone, especially if you've got diseases or anything like that, yeah, you should be sentenced to jail for something like that.
No, it's making my PP do that dog thing where it goes inside itself. It's really too brief thought, isn't it?
What? What?
Does your PP do that sometimes, Jackson?
Why are you calling it a
something
PP?
that makes it? I don't know.
What is wrong with you?
Just choosing that because it feels so vulnerable and small.
So it
my
hides?
PP hurts. It kind of hides. Or it doesn't hide, it squelches. It kind of shudders. It goes. It's the opposite of a boner. It just quivers in fear.
So whenever you're feeling uncomfortable, your penis just shakes a lot,
I think so.
like a dog in a
I think
storm.
it quivers. Dog in a storm. It's better that, it's not going inside itself. It can't do that. That is physically impossible. It's more a dog hearing fireworks. That's what my PP does.
It starts whining.
Yes, it whines.
Okay. Hey,
Does your crumb ever whine? No.
Never makes any noise.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's always hard.
It is really strange. Jackson, constantly erect Lego player. Hey, actually, speaking of, I think that this is a perfect opportunity to once again say that Jordan Shanks is sipping Soul Syrup made by Kira and Jackson, handcrafted by themselves.
Yep,
I'm sure that they do have some mentally challenged Chinese man in the back of their room that does all the tea making for them. But nonetheless, we don't know that for a fact, do we?
Nope, handmade.
I would like to request, can we stop this so I can try yet another one of your delicious flavors?
Yes, I need to pee as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that was code word for me as well. So, yeah.
Or in front of the camera so we can use it as B-roll. Jordan, I hear you sipping on some tea right now. What are you drinking?
Oh, yes, that's absolutely what I'm doing. Very good ears. I am in this mug that changes color when the tea is hot, which means that it is ready to go, drinking the brand new Lovers range, which is my personal favorite from the good people at soulsyrup.com.
No
who have, of course,
affiliation.
no affiliation with this podcast whatsoever.
We've heard they're good.
We've heard that they are remarkable people.
They sound
There
awesome.
is a rumor that they are in a relationship, though that is not confirmed. And perhaps that it is because of this lovers' tea that they got together. We will never know.
It'd be very unprofessional if they were. I don't know if I could support a business where the two people that
total
own it are
conflict of
banging.
interest.
Fuck that.
Yes.
Back to the story.
I don't want to think about that while drinking lovers' tea.
Think about what went into that.
Jackson.
No, I mean like the passion that went into making it in several ways, Jordan. Bunting and Wagner killed Porter on a night when Vlassakis had gone out. He was attacked by the two while sleeping, but managed to lash out in self-defense, stabbing Bunting in the hand, hopefully not with another used needle, before ultimately being overpowered and strangled to death. Vlassakis was shown his body before it was put into a barrel for storage, so one of the barrels. And also I said hopefully not with a... if anyone's going to get stabbed by a needle that potentially has, diseases on it, it should be Bunting. So I'm fine with that, actually. Gavin Porter did the right thing.
It was with a screwdriver.
Ooh, ow. Ow, that's got to hurt.
Mm.
Next victim was Troy Youde, 21, who was Bunting's stepson and James Vlassakis' half-brother. Vlassakis had told Bunting that he was sexually abused by Troy at the age of 13. There was no talk of ever murdering Troy as much as Bunting disliked him and often talked of flogging him. Bunting, Wagner, and Haydon woke Vlassakis up one night and handed him handcuffs and a club.
I'm sorry, I got her. I fucking got her, everyone. This bunny's been pissing me off for half a day. I wasn't paying attention to that last thing. She just came in finally. Got you, little cunt. There she is.
Aww.
This is Lulu, everybody.
Lulu?
She's the first bunny that we had. Yeah, Lulu.
Aww. How old is she?
I wish we could have bunnies.
Yeah, it's illegal up here, isn't
She's
it?
6. You don't want to have bunnies, trust me. They're annoying. They shit everywhere.
Did you choose to have a bunny?
No.
So it was your
Of course
fiance?
not. No, it's not even my fiance. It was the usual thing. It was my fiance has a much younger sister, and she was like, I want rabbits, and I'm going to look after them every day. And then, 2 weeks later, it was just like, hey, this isn't the same as one of the toys that I dump in the corner. I have to keep feeding it. Boo. And so anyway, at that point, I was, okay, fine, we'll take them.
Aww.
And so we've got that one, and then we got another rescue bunny as well. That one has a sad
What
story.
are you,
This
a
one is
fucking
just fat.
rabbit sanctuary? What is this?
Yes, that's what happened. Well, it's just because, dude, they do something really cute when they're bonded. They get
fuck.
really snuggly. No,
Aww.
they can't do that anymore, can they?
You took their balls?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, man, it is. If you are going to get nuts removed from a rabbit that is past the age of being a child, you better make sure you have a damn good surgeon. All right? Like they can die from that. So
Oh.
you've got to make. They're very flitty animals. They're supposed to die. It's pathetic. It is. Honestly, I don't want to mention how much money I've spent on these rabbits. It's so. Oh,
You're a good
God, they
man.
infuriate me. For things that are a pest. Like, you are not allowed to have them because they are a pest.
Yeah, they breed a lot.
They're so
But
cute.
they are
though.
also, at the same time, they are really cute. Like, look at it. It's
Yeah,
just
they're adorable.
it's a soft toy. It's not it's a moving soft toy.
Yeah, they're adorable. And you're a good man for saving all these rabbits from.
I can't do it. Honestly, that is my thing. I reckon I could watch World Vision ads for days on end and it'd be nothing but a comedy classic. It'd just be under the file of Netflix comedies in my head. But as soon as you show me a bear with a chain through its nose or something like that, I'm just like, I gotta give some money. Like every time.
No, it's very.
It's always animals. Animals always get me every time.
Well, how about this? How about this? All the ad revenue generated by this episode will go to an animal charity of Jordan's choosing. How about that?
Oh, that's really nice. There's actually a couple that I know that
There
are
we go.
very, very good.
There we go.
All right, now I'm just going to put this. Fuck, she's fatter than I thought too. Hang on.
Oh, he's abusing animals by overfeeding them. Not good. Cancel him.
I'm looking at wombat.
What are you looking at?
Wombats.
Wombats are
Love.
really cute.
Oh, I love wombats.
All right, well, guys, I've got a little recommendation for you one time. You have to do it because it's just, I think it's law in Australia that if you're in a long-term relationship, you have to have at least one vacation in Tasmania. Do it. It's
Filled with
avoid the
wombats.
cities like the plague. Yes. Wombats come out at dusk and they are so abundant in Tasmania that you can just go out to valleys and it honestly looks like a field of cows just munching on the grass. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think the last time I went to Tasmania was like when I was 14 or 15. Went to like Launceston, I think, and there were so many fucking wombats around. It was like maybe 10% humans and 90% wombats.
Yeah, that's about right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so cute. I love wombats.
They're great.
All right, so continuing on, Troy Youde, 21, was Bunting's stepson and James Vlassakis' half-brother. Vlassakis had told Bunting that he was sexually abused by Troy at the age of 13. There was no talk of ever murdering Troy as much as Bunting disliked him and often talked of flogging him. Bunting, Wagner, and Haydon woke Vlassakis up one night and handed him handcuffs and a club. Then they went to Troy's bedroom. What were they, cavemen? Why a club? What the fuck?
I don't know.
They began to attack Troy mercilessly, with Vlassakis handcuffing him to a bed. And remember, this Troy Youde guy is living with them. This is Bunting's stepson and James Vlassakis' half-brother.
There you go.
Vlassakis later claimed he then left the room along with Mark Haydon. Bunting and Wagner moved Troy to the bathtub, continuing to beat and torture him for his financial information. He was forced to call the men sir and was recorded and forced to say abusive statements directed at people like his mother. They also made him apologize to Vlassakis for the sexual abuse. They ordered Vlassakis to get objects like rope and duct tape from another room, which is when James realized that his half-brother was about to die. Jesus. Troy was gagged and strangled, with Vlassakis assisting in the murder, later claiming that it was because he wanted to get it over with quickly. They moved the body to the shed and later told Elizabeth Harvey, their mother, that a fight had broken out and Troy had left. They purchased a barrel and had tried to put Troy in, but he didn't fit, with Bunting exclaiming that he would need to do a, quote, slice and dice, end quote, proceeding to cut off his feet, and then he fit in the barrel. It's so fucking morbid. So Troy Youde was Bunting's stepson, and he still killed him. In a group way as well, like 3 of them did it together, and also they initiated James Vlassakis in on the murder as well. I think this was Vlassakis' first murder. Like the previous one with Gavin Porter, which was Vlassakis' friend, they had just shown him the body afterwards. So Vlassakis still knew, but he wasn't actually involved in the murder. This time, though, he was directly involved, and it was his stepbrother.
Yeah.
Crazy. So the next victim, Frederick Brooks, 18, was the son of the previously mentioned Jodie Elliott, who was the sister of Haydon's wife. Frederick Brooks had moved to South Australia in 1997 to be closer to his sister. Bunting was convinced that Brooks was a pedophile for very little reason, and he believed strongly that Brooks, quote, touched up young girls, end quote. He was 18 as well, by the way, so I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, not that 18-year-olds can't be pedophiles, probably, but I don't know. I don't know what he means here. There was very little evidence to suggest that he was an actual pedophile. He told the others that something had to happen to him. Brooks was then invited to a party by the group on the premise that Frederick had just been accepted into the Australian Air Force cadets, but was instead taken by Bunting, Wagner, and Vlassakis, where he was also then handcuffed and tortured in a bathtub. The torture had escalated by this point. Lit cigarettes were put in Brooks's nose and ears, with the lit end being placed inside. They used the cigarettes to burn spots on his body, and they also used an electric shock machine to send intense and painful impulses through his body. A lit sparkler was forced into his urethra, and they watched as it burned. They also injected bleach into his testicles.
Okay, all right, come on, Jackson. You still hard?
No.
Okay, it's quivering. Is your penis
it's
whining?
It's quivering. It's whining now, for sure. Oh, my testicles definitely are.
Sparkler!
What the again, these are the people that apparently hate gay people, and they're doing this. Like, they're very focused on this guy's testicles and penis. Like, out of this entire story, they've been the ones most focused on penises. It's such an insane level of like projection here. These guys were super gay.
Oh God, I wish we censored that part out.
Can't.
Jackson, this is why I'm sorry I couldn't go to your court case. I couldn't do it. If there is a sparkler getting put up your pee-pee, I can't.
You better come.
I can't do it. It's
you
so
better bring
torturous.
some sparklers to remember me by. Light them off as soon as the guilty verdict is read.
Oh, no.
In memory of Jackson.
It is quite an ironic and poetic way to... Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Thank you.
Oh, that psychically... I need psychic recovery time.
It's painful to read, yeah. Just thinking about it. Yeah, the bleach in the testicles was more fucked for me.
Was it?
Yeah.
Then the sparkler. You prefer the sparkler.
Let's sparkle like that. Aren't they pretty... They're thin on the end, aren't they?
Yeah, but it'd be sparkling and spitting off like...
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I don't want to put anything in my penis hole. Absolutely. The sounding or whatever is really disturbing to me, and also that sounds horrible. But like putting bleach in my testicles, are you kidding me? I'm taking the sparkler at that point. Like if I had to choose between those two, you guys would choose. Well, Kira, you're in an interesting position here, but you would choose the sparkler. I mean the testicle bleach.
Neither.
No, you have to choose, Kira.
No.
I had to choose. What the fuck?
No, you didn't.
Jordan?
I'm choosing the bleach. I can't do the sparkler.
Really? Bleach in your testicles? What do you mean? That's gonna burn so bad in your nuts.
Yeah, but
and also the needle going in.
Sparkler's also going to burn.
Yeah.
Oh, far out. Oh, okay, that's the worst by a mile. That is the worst death
It's awful.
I've ever heard.
It's truly horrifying and horrible and demonic. Like
it's
actually demonic.
Really demonic.
If there was any justice in the world, these people involved in this would have to, undergo the same torture. In my ideal world, I know that's gonna get some hate, but like actually, they should have to suffer through the same kind of ordeal that they put their victims through. I don't believe
Absolutely.
I don't believe it. Like they shouldn't. That's so stupid. Anyway, they obtained his financial information and made Brooks say abusive phrases about his mother. He was then gagged and tape was wrapped around his head and mouth, which resulted in his death. He was put in a barrel, still tied up, his lower limbs held together with electrical cord and the gag and tape still around his head. Brooks received a youth training allowance, and Vlassakis would impersonate him after his death to keep the payments coming in. The next victim, and yes, there is more, 29-year-old Gary O'Dwyer was a neighbor of Bunting. Intellectually and physically disabled, he was also often called homophobic slurs by Bunting in passing. Vlassakis told the police later that he thought O'Dwyer was simply a financial target of Bunting. O'Dwyer lived alone, and Bunting wanted to know his family and financial situation. Bunting, Wagner, Haydon, and Vlassakis went around to O'Dwyer's house for a couple of drinks, but after around 20 minutes, Bunting began to strangle him, and they put him in handcuffs. They tortured O'Dwyer for hours, also using the electronic pulse machine previously used with Brooks. Like the others, they extracted information out of O'Dwyer while he was tortured, and then they killed him. His body was placed in a barrel that was stored in Haydon's house until it was moved to the Snowtown bank. Their next victim was Elizabeth Haydon, Mark Haydon's own wife. She had been told about the killings by Mark, which alarmed Bunting when he found out. He saw her as a sort of liability and shared these feelings with Wagner and Vlassakis, but not with Mark. Wagner did not like her either, believing that she was a lowlife and a whore, quotes. On the 21st of November, imagine calling this woman, who I'm sure is not a good person, just by virtue of she probably knew about these murders and chose to keep quiet, but complicated situation. She wasn't directly involved in the murders, I don't think. Imagine calling her a lowlife and a whore. Meanwhile, you are on a
putting sparklers up, Cox.
Yeah, you're putting sparklers up penises in, and you're on a 10 kill streak basically at this point in time. Like there is.
Well, I suppose it's not a whore though, is it? It's nothing whorish about it. He's in a committed relationship.
Bunting's case, he's been sleeping around with 5 different people at this point. So, you know, if the shoe fits. If the sparkler fits, you must acquit. I don't know where I'm going with that.
No.
It might go.
I don't know if that's how the law works. Yeah, go on. What did you say?
Put a sparkler in your urethra, you get 5 years off your sentence. What were you saying?
It might go back to when I was researching about this and obviously reading James Vlassakis' statements and information to the police. There was like information and talks of her possibly seeing other men and you know, I don't know if she cheated or something like that, but I saw things like that being brought up and talked about. So maybe that's why he would call her things like a whore.
But this wasn't the husband calling her a whore, right? It was Wagner calling her a whore. But okay, so there was this image that she was cheating on their friend, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe they saw her as like a bit of someone who would look at other guys and things like that. So maybe that's why they were labeling her like that.
Yeah, right. But still, regardless, like glass houses and all that, like these guys are murderers. Calling this chick a...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm just providing like a little bit of
context.
possible context for that.
On the 21st of November, Mark and Elizabeth's children had left for the night, leaving Elizabeth home alone. Bunting and Wagner arrived at the residence shortly after Mark Haydon had left. Elizabeth was then attacked by Bunting, and Wagner, again, she was recorded and made to say phrases which would later be played to those who knew her, like, quote, "Leave me alone, I'm all right, fuck off," end quote. That's pretty convincing. But again, male voices could be heard in the background directing her to say these things. She was made to say abusive things about her children and about Mark. Elizabeth was tortured, killed, and placed in a barrel with rope left around her neck and a gag taped into her mouth. When the barrel containing Elizabeth's body was taken to the bank, they removed the lid to look at her body, with Bunting and Wagner laughing and making jokes. Mark, who was also present, the husband, also laughed at her body. So, lovely marriage. The last victim, David Johnson, was another stepbrother to James Vlassakis. So they're going through the whole family tree at this point. Bunting would often call him homophobic slurs despite him being heterosexual, and also referred to him as a yuppie. Do you want to explain what yuppie is?
God, how do you explain a yuppie? What's the word that you would have in United States?
Would it be like metrosexual? I don't know.
It's a type of yuppie, yeah. Look, a yuppie is somebody who has a good job, usually lives in the inner city. It's sort of like a hipster, but they're more professional and not into art and culture. They're more into all the other trappings around it. The good food, the wine.
Yeah, kind of like an...
You know what a
image of being
yuppie is?
successful.
You know what a yuppie is? It's a try-hard upper class person that isn't part of the upper class. They're kind of like upper middle class at best, I reckon.
Yeah. Usually young professionals as well.
Young professional.
Yeah, so he had that image, and obviously these, let's call them bogans, because they probably were bogans. He took offense to that, someone, being more well off than them. And that was enough for him to be gay in their eyes, basically. Shows how, absolutely how far their whole
down the totem pole.
Yeah, how far they're getting from their original stated mission or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They're just taking any opportunity now to kill people that they don't even. It's like the thing you were saying, like he side-eyed me on the road or something like that. And now that's motivation enough to kill the person.
Yeah.
Now they're just going for whatever.
Yeah, mate, this guy takes baths. Yeah, that kind
of thing. Bunting reportedly never liked Johnson and had it out for him from the day that they met. Bunting began to talk to Vlassakis about, quote, getting David, end quote, ultimately tasking Vlassakis with luring him to Snowtown on the premise of David helping James buy a cheap computer from Snowtown on the 9th of May, 1999. They arrived at the bank, and when Johnson entered, he was grabbed by Bunting around the throat and put in handcuffs. They tortured financial information and phrases out of him, and he was then gagged with his own socks. The men continued on with the torturing of David Johnson until he died. Johnson was the only victim to be killed in Snowtown. After his death, the men degloved. Oh, God, Jesus, I forgot that it gets worse. Somehow it gets worse. By the way, just context here, this David guy, who's a yuppie, was literally going with James Vlassakis to help him buy a computer. He was doing him a favor. Like, he seems like a decent enough guy, and they still, like, so fucked, man. And here's where it gets worse and grosser, in my opinion. This is the peak of grossness.
No. Okay. All right. Yeah, go.
Maybe you disagree. After his death, the men degloved Johnson's hands, which means to take the skin, like completely take the skin off his hands and like remove the, flesh from underneath. They degloved his hands and attempted to amputate and cut off his right knee. They also took a piece of flesh from Johnson and fried it on a little pan, and Bunting and Wagner then consumed the piece of flesh.
Wow, it just keeps getting more depraved, doesn't it?
It really does, and it shows that, like, we see this with a lot of serial killers, of course, but the scale of escalation and how it grows, they're never content with just killing, They always have to, now that they're comfortable with that, they move on to the next depravity in a lot of these cases.
I guess it's always just the same thing with anything that happens with anything that you do. You go to the gym, the original weights aren't enough. You spend more and more time there.
Drug addiction.
You become Ronnie Bear. Yes. Same thing. Anything.
Absolutely,
you just keep upping the ante.
Yeah. At the end of the trial, and after the jury had been exposed to all of the above testimony, evidence, and chronology of events, which we've gone over now, we've gone over every murder so far, John Bunting and Robert Wagner were sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. In court, Robert Wagner made the following statement, quote, pedophiles were doing terrible things to children. The authorities didn't do anything about it. I decided to take action. I took that action. Thank you. End quote. Yeah, what a hero. Maybe 2 of these 12 people were pedophiles, maybe at best. Like, it's also unconfirmed if any of them were pedophiles, really. A lot of the people they killed specifically just because they didn't like them, or because they were gay, or because they wanted to steal their welfare checks, basically. Very, very few pedophiles here, Robert Wagner. Like, I don't know if people are going to disagree with this, but I really just... He's admitting to it. What is the point? There's no rehabilitation. Why is he in prison for the rest of his life? Just kill him. Do you agree with that, Jordan?
Public execution. Do I agree with it? I used to always think...
Oh, I mean, I guess by extension.
Well, I'm going there. So you want a private behind closed doors?
Well, I don't care how it's done. Just
I mean, if we're going to bring back executions, you've got to go the whole hog, surely. You've got to have old hags out there throwing tomatoes and be like... the last thing that you'd see before you die.
I don't want to take any... no, it's you totally...
Bunch of children gremlinly chuckling at you.
Let me put... It's totally like utilitarian minded. I take no pleasure in it. I don't enjoy the idea of it. It's not something... Like, it's just... What is the point? What is the point of keeping them around for like 80 years in a prison? What is the point? If there's no chance of rehabilitation, which clearly there isn't, they're not being freed, and he's admitted to it, importantly. Like, I get the distinction that if there's any room for doubt, then obviously execution should not be done. But, like, there's no room for doubt here. He's admitted to it. He's bragging about it. What is the point at that point?
That's a very good question. I don't know the answer, and I don't know why anyone would disagree with it. Maybe you could have that same system that they sort of have in Japan where it's on the books, but they don't use it that often.
I'm fine with that.
I was always just like, because I used to always have the really cuck points in my heads of, oh, well, you know, it actually costs more to do the execution and it doesn't reduce murder and all this. But then they were saying that to some Texan sheriff. And then he was just being like, yeah, I know it costs more. And I was like, so why do you do it? And then he was just like, I reserve the right to expunge certain members from the human gene pool.
See, but that's a person who maybe enjoys it, which I don't. I take a little bit of moral umbrage with. Like, again, it's totally not something that I would enjoy the process of or anything like that. It should be entirely like clinical, basically. But like, if it's a situation where the person has killed, there's no room for doubt. And he's done horrible things in this situation, and then through the process of finding them guilty in courts, brags about it openly and admits to it. Like, I don't.
Yeah, now that I think about it, what is the justification that we have in Australia for no death penalty at all?
Well, the justification that I agree with, mostly for this situation, is if there's room for doubt, like you could potentially execute someone who would later be found innocent of that crime, which obviously would be horrible. But again, like I think the legal framework surely has room to make a distinction for when it is, in this case, totally provable, and in fact, like they've, confessed to it ostensibly. Surely there's room in the legal framework to allow for situations like that to be dealt with.
It's really weird. I don't know why they never thought of that before.
Well, they probably have. I mean,
and I remember that being talked about on one of those controversial 90s talk show panels that they used to put on midday television to sucker ratings. And the guy that always used to say the opinion should got everyone talking, he said exactly what you said, Jackson. He said exactly what you said. If they admit to it, if they've got the DNA for it, if it's provable, just cut him out to dry.
Yeah, I definitely don't care if they do die in that situation. I would not care one iota if Robert Wagner and John Bunting were executed tomorrow. You would not see me. I wouldn't be happy about it because nothing good has come from this situation, obviously. Nothing good has come from any of this. But yeah, I would not feel morally conflicted about it either. I would be like, yep, that makes logical sense. You know what I mean?
I'd feel morally convicted because they didn't get
sparklers in their penises.
I mean, I was just asking for a Geraldo interview, but I just want one of those 90s talk show guys to go up to them and just be like, why'd you do it?
You want
That's
answers first. Yeah,
I want the interview.
Yeah, fair. Maybe they could do a situation where if you give an interview, you get a less worse execution.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Like if you don't give the interview, then the process of execution for you is
then
sparkles in
the
your
penis.
And whatever, bleach in your testicles or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated matter. A lot of people have different opinions, but that's mine and I stand by them, God damn it.
I wonder if they enjoy prison.
There's
so many questions.
I'm sure they enjoy still being alive, maybe.
That's what I'm wondering. Do they?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so to 25 years in prison. Sorry, continue on reading. I just read ahead a little bit.
So the jury struggled to reach a verdict for Mark Haydon, which, remember, he was one of the three main murderers here who had been involved from the very beginning, basically, and who also was involved in the murder of his own wife. The jury struggled to reach a verdict for Mark Haydon, deliberating for 37 hours over 5 days where they remained in a deadlock. Ultimately, he was charged with 7 counts of assisting an offender, and he's sentenced to 25 years in prison. He was released under strict supervision last year in 2024. Wow. Parole Board Chair Francis Nelson said, quote, "We've addressed his risk to the community having regard to the psychological assessment done by the Department of Correctional Services. There has been no indication throughout his 25 years in prison that he has been inappropriate or aggressive or non-compliant. We have interviewed him at least twice. Twice?
At least twice.
Yeah, we've done our due diligence here, guys. We've talked to him twice in that 25 years. I think we know what we're talking about. He described how he was drawn into this offending. This is still the quote, by the way. He described how he was drawn into the offending, which does not excuse it, but does tend to explain it. He was also to some extent fearful of Bunting and did explain to us that at times he was worried he would be the next victim, and if he did disclose what he knew, he would be more than likely be killed, end quote. Yeah, I don't know, man. 25 years for being involved in at least 10 murders. The fact that he's out there now doesn't sit right with me. Even if for the last 25 years in prison, he's been a good little boy, and he felt fearful for his life in the process of killing people with Bunting. Man, I don't know. 25 years, that is so not right with me, in my opinion. What about you?
Well, I can think of a reason not to release him, and that is his release photo. That guy is fucked.
I mean, you wouldn't look
He
good
looks
after
like
25 years in prison either. That too, yeah.
No, but he's got that real mole man look of...
Yeah.
Every photo of him.
Kira, what do you think?
About him being released?
Yeah.
You're pro it, aren't you, Kira?
No.
You wanted him out sooner.
You wanted him out sooner. Yeah, people like you is why that jury verdict took so long.
What do you think, Kira?
I don't think it was enough. I understand that he was probably scared, or possibly so scared of Bunting and like could have been fearful of his life, but it doesn't excuse that he did that.
Mm-hmm.
He was a part of the killings. That's on him now, and I just think, I don't know, that quote there just reads so silly to me. It's like talking about the community and saying that he's not a risk. We've interviewed him twice.
He's killed 10 people. How is he not potentially a risk? Like, it reads so ridiculously naive to talk about someone that's killed 10 people in the past out of cold-blooded, murderous intent, and then say that they're not a threat to the community. Let me ask you this, Gil. Do you feel safer knowing that this guy is out there walking the streets right now?
No.
Yeah, no, of course not. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with identifying the risk there.
So it does say, I just looked into another article. So he has to live in a pre-approved address. He does have to wear an like a ankle monitor. He can't be out between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. He's not allowed to drink. He's not allowed to take non-prescribed drugs. He's not allowed to go on a licensed premises. Okay. All those sort of things.
There's conditions. So, he's like, sure. But he wouldn't be the first criminal that has broken those conditions and reoffended.
He's also banned from speaking with the media.
Okay. Is he banned from killing?
No interviews.
Is he banned from killing?
Yes. I think so.
I told you, Jackson, between those hours.
It's a blackout period. We're going to be very hard on him next time he kills 10 people. He'll regret it. I'm sorry. I'm just hardline on this. 25 years for 10 lives. I don't know. What do you think, Jordan?
Well, he is a very weak, nibbly old man.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but I don't think that he is capable of offending anymore. He just looks so old. But yes, I still think that he should be in jail pretty much just to punish him. That's about it, though.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel good about it. Anyway, James Vlassakis pleaded guilty to 4 counts of murder. He was jailed for life. So this is the James Vlassakis, again, the fourth, co-conspirator here, pleaded guilty to 4 counts of murder, the counts that he was involved in. He was jailed for life, but as he assisted the authorities, he was given a 26-year non-parole period. This ended this year in 2025, and he was granted parole in August, just this month. Miss Nelson said Vlassakis had met, this is the same woman, by the way, Miss Nelson, the parole board chair, said that Vlassakis had met the legislative criteria for parole and was genuinely remorseful. Ronald Lane, the nephew of Barry Lane, has said that he was angry and saddened by the decision. Quote, I think they're, referring to the parole board, a complete fool, to be honest. I mean, this guy has done some terrible murders and killed 4 innocent people. I'm feeling absolutely disgusted. I'm mad and upset about the whole thing. End quote. To me, that the Vlassakis part of it is more understandable than the other one, considering James Vlassakis was. It's more believable to me that Bunting held a position of power over James Vlassakis, since they were both living together, and James Vlassakis was his stepson, so he grew up with him. So I kind of get a little bit of leniency there. I definitely disagree with the Robert Wagner. Sorry, not the Robert Wagner. The Mark Haydon, him being released. But I can understand their argument more in this situation with James Vlassakis. But even then, I still think he should be in jail. Like, I still think it should be permanent, honestly. But that's just me. Ultimately, the murder spree between 1992 and 1999 claimed the lives of 12 individuals and left a lasting image on the sleepy little town of Snowtown, who has since tried to rebrand. I think they tried to rebrand shortly after by changing their name to Rosetown. That didn't pass, though, for whatever reason. It's still Snowtown. And that image... Wouldn't
it be great if on the sign it said Rosetown, formerly known as Snowtown?
Yeah. And then brackets where the bodies of the barrels were found.
Yeah, where the bodies were found. Yeah, that classic running writing that is kind of like on a 45-degree slant. Yeah.
They could put it on one of those counter signs that says days without bodies being found or something.
Oh, that'd be sick. Okay, yeah, guys, you got to lean into it. You have to.
I think they did. I think they sell merchandise there now.
Yeah, that's what I'd do too.
Yeah,
some sort of barrel, miniature barrel that's a pen holder. That'd be really good.
That's so fucked up. Yeah, so they haven't been able to escape from the image. John Bunting and Robert Wagner will remain incarcerated for the remainder of their lives, and they have a non-parole, like no chance of parole, which is good. So at least they'll be in there forever, hopefully.
Justice is served.
Unless, the parole board chair, Frances Nelson, comes out and said they've been good boys, and she's talked to them at least twice and decided that they can come live with her. You know what? I'm going to go on this. If the parole board chair, Frances Nelson, wants to do that and release these people, then they should have to live with her. Like, they should have to board with her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the house arrest.
I don't like people like this being in society, honestly, but whatever. That's going to do it for the Bodies in the Barrels episode, the Snowtown Murders, that covers everything entirely from top to bottom about the story. I hope this educated you Americans about Australian history over there. Turns out we do have true crime stories as well. Some very sinister shit going on in
we got the best
places.
Ones.
Yeah, it's not a competition, Jordan. But I admire your enthusiasm. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Again, remember, Jordan's got his own channel, Friendly Geordies. You can go check out his stuff on Ozpol, that's Australian politics. Probably not really relevant to you Americans, but it's still very funny. Jordan's a very funny guy, so go check that out. On top of that, he's also got a channel, Jordan Shanks, where he does self-help videos as well as videos on YouTube drama. Weird combination, but it works. Go check that out, and he'll tell you the secrets to success so you can be just as successful as him. You too can own bunnies, and also what else do you do? Bunnies and other stuff, I guess.
You can you can also make skits on Instagram.
Success is defined in so many ways for so many different people. Go check his stuff out. He's also doing live shows around Australia at the moment. So go check that out. All will be linked below. And as Jordan's sipping on soul syrup throughout the episode, you too can sip on soul syrup, soulsyrup.com.au. We're not shipping to America at the moment. Trump's tariffs and whatever. The Australian post shipping system has decided not to ship to America currently. We're working on a solution to that. We'll start shipping again in the next year. We'll update you in the future. But yeah, you can go to soulsyrup.com.au and at least have a look at them. you can look at them for that.
Yes.
They're pretty to look at.
Yeah, they're very pretty to look at. So go check them out. If you're Australian, you can get them shipped to you still and everywhere else in the world. So if you want to do that, soulshope.com.au. It's good tea. We like it. We made it with passion. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.